McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, sir.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. On my right nipple, on top of my performance for the brand sleeveless hoodie is a sticker that says, I voted.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
It's Tuesday, November 3rd, the biggest day of the year. Yes, we are talking about the NFL trade deadline is today, and also the presidential election is obviously happening.
Whoa.
There's a lot of things to talk about in the world that we're living in the sports world, and we can't wait to do that for the next 3 hours here on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio, channel 82. Last night, I hammered the Bucks minus 12.5 against the New York Football Giants, and it looked bad early for the Buccaneers. It ended bad late for the Buccaneers, but they get a win over Danny Dimes and the New York Giants. Tom Brady threw for 270-some yards, so the over of his passing yards did cash in. Tom Brady looks to be in a position that's very interesting right now. The Giants, Joe Judge, we all remember Joe Judge, the head coach of the New York Giants, and I forgot about this when I hammered the Buccaneers minus 12.5. Joe Judge is building a culture over there. Joe Judge is building a team over there, and Joe Judge dove on a fumble in training camp whenever it was muddy out in front of his entire team.
Oh, yeah.
I should have known that they weren't going to go out and lay an egg on national television, primetime TV against the Buccaneers, against a quarterback that Joe Judge knows a lot about. They only, they should have lost, to be honest. Buccaneers should have potentially lost that game. Yep. Danny Dimes tried to give it away a couple times, which was the entire focal point of the broadcast team. It sounded like whenever they're talking about Danny Dimes, it seems like everybody knows what Daniel Jones's limitations are, and it is that he gives the ball to the other team a lot. This is kind of like what they were saying about Jameis Winston. Will he ever be able to turn this around? Nobody knows. Who knows? We'll keep it moving. Week 8 in a gambling fashion for me was not my best. It's my first losing weekend that I've ever had in the NFL. And I would like to let everybody know that I'm going to bury the ball and I'm going to move on.
Nice. Smart.
I'm burying the ball and I'm moving on. Week 8 is now completely finished. Tom Brady gets a dub. Now we look ahead. And what we look ahead to is Thursday night football. The Green Bay Packers in the riddled with just IR injuries, San Francisco 49ers. And the San Francisco 49ers, the last time they played the Green Bay Packers, 186 yards before contact on the ground rushing in the NFC Championship game. This Thursday night, George Kittle, out. Jimmy G, out. I believe Debo, out. The 49ers currently have $80 million worth of cap space on their IR this season. What will that mean for Thursday night? We'll talk to Aaron Rodgers about it next Tuesday, probably. Yeah, next Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers Tuesday is not happening. I mean, this is a heartbreaker. It is a heartbreaker for all of us. Short week. He's got work to do. He has his NFL mandatory press conference, I believe, happening here in like an hour. We'll try to kind of hack into that Zoom potentially to hear what he's saying. But he has work. He has practice. They have a game in 2 days. Completely understandable. Excited to chat with him after that game. Maybe we'll try to prod him for a Friday call. Who knows? Yeah, but Thursday Night Football is right around the corner. Today's show, though, today's going to show the diversity of this show, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're a sports show, aren't we?
Yeah, big time.
Big sports show.
Huge.
I've always said, does anybody give a damn what I think about any other topics other than football?
Sure.
No, people don't care, okay?
They might.
People don't care. Well, nobody's going, and this is the problem with, I think, sports shows, is sports personalities start getting so popular. You know what I mean? Get popular, you get a big platform, and then you automatically just start assuming like, okay, everybody wants to know what I think about everything because they follow me because my sports conversations are good, you know? That's kind of a trap that a lot of sports hosts in the sports world fall into because of the vast importance of the election, which I agree, vast important, but everybody just automatically assumes that their opinion is worth something in this world because they are potentially successful in another lane, okay? And I think that is maybe the perfect example of lacking self-awareness. So whenever I got into this world, I'm a pretty self-aware human being. That is why I think we have successes, because we're a pretty self-aware show. Nobody wants to hear me talk about fucking politics, okay? Nobody's like, you know what? I wonder what Pat McAfee thinks about the presidential. Not a single person is doing that. So we refrain from any of those conversations because A, we're not smart enough to do it, and B, nobody gives a fuck what we think about it. But today, I want to let you know, we have a politician coming on this show today.
Whoa!
Yeah, this politician just so happened to be a first-round draft pick by the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh.
This first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts used to be a very good friend of mine, and this man is now in the House of Representatives in Ohio. Anthony Gonzalez will be joining us today. He is up for re-election today, so let's hope he wins, I guess. But I'm going to talk to him about what it's like transferring from sports to politi. And is politi similar to sports? And what do we need to know about what's going on today, not only with yourself, but the entire world? So we're a sports show, and we will talk about sports. But when you just so happen to have a very good friend who is also in the politi world in the middle of a sports season, it feels like this is the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Sent him a text yesterday, said, hey, is there any way you can join the show? I'm not smart enough to have a conversation with him. He's graduated from The Ohio State, I think Stanford, another. He has like 16 degrees at this point. He is very, very smart. Excited to talk to him. And in the second hour of the show, we'll talk to a guy not about politics at all, Mark Schlereth, about sports. So I just want to let you know, maybe we'll cover what's happening in the world because it's the right thing to do, I guess, is what everybody says. But know that none of us think that we should be persuading anybody into thinking a certain way about shit that actually matters. Know that we are self-aware enough for that. So Anthony Gonzalez will join us. Mark Schlereth will join us. AJ Hawk will join us. We will take your phone calls. Cannot wait to hear what you want to talk about. You can say whatever you want, by the way. When you call in, you can say whatever you want. Just know you might get ruined in front of a lot of people. There's a chance you'll get ruined. But if you make a good call, can't wait to chat with you. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Let's have the greatest Tuesday in history. Everybody's acting like this is going to be the worst day in the history of the world. Allegedly, potentially some wars are about to pop off. I want to let you know, we got our blinders on. We're going into week 9 of the NFL season.
That's right.
And let's make this the greatest Tuesday of all time. Joining me, a man who did not vote is a scumbag at Tone Diggs. Should have listened to Duck. Boo!
I was gonna go vote, and I was driving to vote this morning, but I drove by McDonald's and I was like, sausage, egg, and cheese sounds fucking delicious right now.
I like that.
So I went in there, and the drive-thru was packed, and it took like 20 minutes, so I didn't have time to vote anymore. So,
Funny you say that, because Indiana, at least where I went, Ty went, I think everybody else in here except for you, Tone, very quick.
Yeah, super quick.
In and out.
Yep.
Super quick. Average wait time, I guess they're saying here in the local news, like 10, 15 minutes somehow. Did not expect that to happen. Have no idea how they fixed it from just a few days ago where it wasn't happening. That's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about that. But Tone's the only one in the room that chose not to vote.
well, I thought the more American thing to do would be to go to McDonald's and grab a sausage, egg, and cheese.
Hey, look at you supporting small business here on this Tuesday. Small business, McDonald's at Boston Connor. We're going to dive into something that Bill Belichick said, and I don't want to give it away and dive into that conversation yet, but it's nice to know that Bill Belichick is a human. Now, with that being said, after seeing what the Giants were able to do to the Bucs last night with a much worse roster than the New England Patriots currently have, do you think that the Patriots are going to potentially win some games here? They were in it against the Bills, could have won that game. Obviously, ball gets punched out late. That goes to overtime. Who knows what's going to happen? Or maybe even score there and win the game. And with the NFL potentially projecting a 16-team playoff as opposed to a 14-team playoff, which they just changed this year. It used to be a 12-team playoff. So it went from 12 to 14 this year. Okay, one more team added in each conference. Now they're thinking if there's more cancellations or shuffling of the schedule and they can't make up for games, maybe they'll have a Week 18. But if it gets too much out of hand, they'll just make it a 16-team playoff. Yes. You only have to be half as good as half the division or conference or whatever. That would be insane. And what if Bill Belichick makes it in because of this and somehow goes on a goddamn run, Connor?
Could easily happen. I mean, we're bottom 5 right now, but if you look at some of the games we played the Seahawks real close, played the Chiefs real close. I mean, everything hasn't gone perfect, but there's still plenty of time to turn it around.
Okay, that is some breaking news in the NFL is that they went to a 16-game season or a 16-game playoff or 16-team playoff. You get it. And they're talking about that. Some actual breaking news just came out of the NFL. Ian Rappaport says The Broncos general manager John Elway and CEO Joe Ellis are away from the facility due to COVID-19 positive tests. And then to clear it up, John Elway and CEO Joe Ellis have tested positive for COVID-19. Source said they are confident the transmissions originated from outside the building. Well, fucking clear it up. Boys, come on. They're confident it happened outside the building. What were you doing outside the building? I thought we were locking it down. Which makes me think back to the A.J. Dillon situation where A.J. Dillon was playing the football all day Sunday. And if everybody's, because it's going to take all of us.
Takes all of us.
I tweeted last night, it takes all of us. And a lot of people came after me like, oh, don't need you talk about voting. It's like, whoa.
Hey.
Whoa. No. There's a lot more it takes all of us than just fucking voting.
Come on.
Yeah. How about the NFL getting off the goddamn ground? And now we know John Elway and Joe Ellis are like, no, we were actually at a COVID event.
Yeah.
2
Car
days
dealership
ago,
fundraiser, probably.
No
That's
masks.
wild. Hopefully they'll survive this.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be safe. But the A.J. Dillon thing has been very intriguing because it does feel like the information we've been getting, A.J. Dillon potentially forgot that.
It takes all of us.
And Ty, I think you were potentially the one that got this type of information, and this is all alleged, obviously.
Right.
But I think this gives an inside look at what NFL players are being asked to do and not to do at this particular time. Ty, what was the information that you got in your DM that we're not 100% sure is true, but boy, there's some damning evidence that indicates that it potentially is?
Yeah, don't know if it's true or also. I don't want to, take shots at A.J. Dillon, but apparently he went out to a birthday dinner with his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, celebrating birthdays, bro.
Are you kidding me?
They went out to dinner.
At a restaurant?
Yeah, public. Had birthday celebration. He even sang happy birthday to her.
Kick him off.
Did
Can't do
the
it.
whole wait staff come over and sing happy birthday? Because that's completely different.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Were they at Texas Roadhouse? Did they hop on the goddamn saddle and everybody yelled yeehaw? I mean, these are questions that we have. But whenever you dive in even deeper, I guess
I think she goes to the University of Wisconsin. I, again, don't know if that's true or
and
not, but
allegedly,
that's
the
what this
university,
guy was telling me.
We were told by somebody who was either at the restaurant and saw it going down or
Right.
whatever, or saw the photos that she posted on the internet or something like that. So he went to dinner. This scumbag took his girlfriend out to dinner on her birthday. Okay, he sang happy birthday to her. Then he all of a sudden tests positive on Sunday, and it's like, A.J. Dillon, do you even care about the NFL, pal? Yeah. Do you even care about the NFL,
What about
pal?
the Shield? What about the Shield?
Not even allowed to go out to a birthday dinner with your lady.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's wild.
DoorDash for a reason.
It's insane that they've made it this far, by the way. We're 8 weeks
really
in.
is.
It's insane that we've made it this far. Yeah, clappy, I think. 8 weeks down, only one game has really been terribly changed, and that was the Titans-Steelers event, which was the first real outbreak or whatever. Everything else has kind of been shuffled around and changed and everything like that. But the fact that is potentially what happened, which is what people are saying, like, yeah,
right.
That's how it happened. Nobody's allowed to go out to their not allowed to do anything for your significant other's birthday. You need to go home, lock yourself in there, and if it's your kid's birthday, don't even fucking look at them.
Nope.
They'll have other birthdays, won't they?
Yeah.
Plenty. That they'll remember, too.
Will week 9 of the 2020 NFL season come around again? Never
You'll
again.
Never get it back.
It's so hard to be mad at these people.
No, yeah.
It is so hard. Like the A.J. Dillon thing, that guy who sent you that message, I saw it, right? Mm-hmm. I think he was trying to make A.J. Dillon look bad or whatever.
I think so, too.
But whenever you look at it, it's like, it's his girl's birthday. Like, that is tough. But hey, lock it down, A.J. Lock it down, pal.
It's the same thing. It's the Justin Turner thing. It's like, how do we get to a point where he can test positive and then play an entire game? It's like that is an oversight that that's
what happened to A.J. Dillon.
That's what I'm saying.
And now for Thursday night, Jamal Williams, who's also in the running back room, who got a lot of play time because Aaron Jones has a strained calf, I believe. Jamal Williams is a high-risk contact tracer with A.J. Dillon because on the bench you see running backs sit in an area, wide receivers sit in an area, tight ends sit in an area, so that the coach can come over and chat with them, and then people can bounce around. So he was just sitting next to A.J. Dillon probably all goddamn day, probably in breakfast,
Yep.
probably on the bus ride over to the stadium or whatever, or in probably in the locker room before the game, probably warming up on the sideline because the Vikings had the ball a long time sitting there. So Jamal Williams was in a high risk for obvious reasons. It's like if nobody else is in the high risk category, that's a big win for Green Bay, seeming that A.J. Dillon played an entire game with COVID. That's wild. But now they have no running backs for Thursday night's game against the San Francisco 49ers, which would be a great bounce back game, but they got no running backs basically. And the Niners, Kyle Shanahan designed some runs against the Green Bay Packers last year. It doesn't matter who had the ball. Anybody would have done what they did.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, I think they said they're being very cautious, so they don't know if he was going to play. The only other two guys they have, Dexter Williams, he was a 6th-round pick who was on the practice squad, and then Tyler Ervin, who is basically a receiver, but has gotten a couple carries. So, but like you said, I mean, if you can't stop the fucking run, it really doesn't matter who you got playing now.
It's crazy what's going on down there in Wisconsin. What's up, dude?
Speaking of Wisconsin, their game this weekend just was canceled like 10 minutes ago. So if they have one more game canceled, they cannot participate in the Big Ten Championship.
And we're 3 weeks into the season. They had the first ever Big Ten game this year against Illinois on primetime television. And here we are 2.5 weeks after that, and they're one more game away from not being able to participate in the Big Ten Championship. And by the way, let's not even talk about the Big Ten Championship. Let's talk about Graham Mertz getting a 21-day suspension, basically, because he tested positive for COVID. That guy hasn't even picked up a football yet. If I know anything about, University of Michigan, they got billionaires with houses up there. But if the University of Wisconsin's housing is anything like most colleges, what's Graham Mertz doing, throwing go routes down the hallway of his house that's, 10, 15 feet long? Like, 21 days, that guy's not allowed to touch a football, not allowed to do anything. Now Wisconsin's got their second game in a row canceled. It'll be a no contest. I mean, it is. The Big Ten, the presidents are sitting back laughing and enjoying this.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because... No, Wisconsin wasn't one of them. No, it was Nebraska, Iowa, The Ohio State. But boy, if Wisconsin was Nebraska, I think, or Iowa or The Ohio State that voted for it when everybody else voted against it, they'd be coming out with like, how do you feel about your vote from the beginning now? They set the Big Ten up for failure.
Oh, yeah. Without question.
They set it up for failure. And Kevin Warren, I believe is his name, the Big Ten commissioner, he'll come out and say that they with new information, how they did, they set it up for failure. They delayed starting at 3 weeks when everybody else came back so that they could say, we gave you a season, right? We did what you guys wanted. We gave you a season. But they left zero room for error. And every single league has needed room for error thus far, including the MLB. The NBA shut down their entire season. Everybody's like, the bubble work. It's like, yeah, but you forget they shut down their entire season.
Months.
The Utah Jazz MC or arena announcer said, right before a game started, everybody needs to exit the building. And you heard people screaming, oh, my God! You are not in any danger, but you need to evacuate. Screaming. So, like, every single league has been affected by it somehow, some way. And the Big Ten was like, well, if you want it so bad, make it work. And it's like, well, here we are 3 weeks into it, and one team's already potentially disqualified from the Big Ten championship.
Do you think if they do have to miss another game, like, is there any point in them playing any more games? It's like all these guys aren't going to lose a year of eligibility. Why the hell would you trot out there and just potentially get hurt when you're not playing for anything and nothing matters?
You know, it's very interesting because that can go both ways. It's like the year doesn't matter, and it's not going against their eligibility. Why not just go out there and, try some new stuff potentially? But then also, like, why risk or jeopardize potential injury, which happens on a football field on a regular. So it's like two different ways of looking at it. For me, for instance, if I'm the punter over there, I'm lobbying hard to potentially get some quarterback snaps.
Yes.
Sure.
Like, hey, this year doesn't matter anyways. Why don't you go ahead and let me swing rock around?
Get some tape out.
You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and get some on film. So next year, they know every fourth down potential weapon. Or do they just continue to play like 4 games all year and just use it as like a spring season almost, or like a off season basically? It's all a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you. And I'll be excited to see how it changes after today. Obviously, I think
Yeah.
a lot of things are potentially changing after today.
And also, how are teams like Wisconsin going to do next year when there's 5 full recruiting classes in a locker room? Like, are they going to be able to handle that or no? For any of the teams that have that many players.
Not just 5, by the way. It's like 6 full.
6, yeah.
Yeah, because you got redshirt class, right? Then the 4 classes, and then you got
incoming.
Then you got the incoming.
Yeah.
And let's not even talk about the blue shirts, the gray shirts.
Oh, jeez.
Gray shirts, they academically ineligible for the first semester. The blue shirts is an injury one. I mean, it's just the amount of shirts that you could potentially have in that locker room. Tell you what, they better be sanitized because we don't need any of those shirts having fucking COVID on.
That's the truth.
That's right. Zito, before we get to this break, before we get Anthony Gonzalez on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Your poll today might be the biggest poll that we've ever had.
It's massive.
Zito, what is your big old poll for today?
Yeah, we went simple today. Who wins the 2020 election? Joe Jorgensen, 6.3% right now. Kanye, 15.4%.
Nice.
Biden, 32.6%. Trump, 45.8.
Early lead in the polls there by Trump. But
Joe.
People have been saying that the pollsters don't know shit. Zito's poll has proven to be dead wrong.
True.
A lot of the time.
True.
So look out for Joe Jorgensen potentially making a big run
Stealing
here.
one.
She's libertarian candidate, by the way.
Let's go.
Yeah. Like Mr. Rainwater here in Indiana for the governor.
Nice.
I love rainwater.
Do you?
Yeah, sometimes I drink it.
It's not safe. 22 minutes into the hour here on Tuesday, November 3rd. We'll have Anthony Gonzalez on the other side, a man who knows the politic world, knows the sports world. And we'll just we'll have a conversation with him. Hopefully we'll be educated and entertained.
Amen.
And hopefully one day, if he wins the presidency, we can just say, we had a president on the show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Look, the one thing you do know is Kyle Shanahan can run the ball on Mike Pettin. I mean, the last time they played, it didn't take much, but I do think the weakness of this 49er defense against the pass will show up, whether they get Sherman back or not. You know, the Packers will be able to throw the football effectively on.
It is funny that after giving up what they just did to Dalvin Cook, they faced the team that they gave up 186 yards before
maybe I
punt.
don't bet on them.
That did.
I mean, it's not a slam dunk now. I mean, they didn't even – Jimmy G didn't have to play in that championship game. He could have stood next to you.
6 times?
I mean, he just handed the ball off to Morstead, and, you know, now they're hurting their running back too. I mean, they got the kid from Baylor in there, Hasty, who I like coming out, but he fumbled yesterday. That was the one thing I think that one thing we really missed a great opportunity to tell people about. Everybody was so preoccupied with the line movement to San Francisco up in Seattle. But that damn Seattle, they're resilient, they're tough-minded, and Russell Wilson wasn't going to lose to them. I didn't give a shit what the numbers were saying.
Seahawks are 33, 15, and 4 against the spread. Their last 52 after a straight-up loss.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook. Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state. And that's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yes,
I mean, this
please.
truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best, and once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? 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 FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back. Gonzo said the call did not go through. I'm just texting with him right now.
Connection problems in D.C.
Yeah.
Future president.
We're trying to get a hold of the future president, Anthony Gonzalez. What if that's how I intro? He's up for election day. Hopefully, by the way, if he loses.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
No. I'm pumped for this convo because I feel like I did do like a, what's that called in high school? You did civics class.
Yeah.
I feel like I did a civics class, but I still don't understand how any of it works. You know what I mean? Like,
Not at all.
like whenever I looked into what he is, he's a House of Representative.
Yeah.
Okay. All I know is when he took us into the house that he works in, he gave us the best tour I've ever seen in my entire
Yes,
life.
he did.
We were on I think
the
speaker's balcony.
Yeah.
I was wearing a sleeveless hoodie. I was on the speaker's balcony. There was a lot of eyes coming at me, and Gonzo was like, "Oh, let's go down here." We go down this other hallway. We go see it. We see I guess the room where they battle each other in. Yeah. That's been around since the beginning of the country, I guess. And it's like there's like blood on the stairs. So I mean, we learned a lot just from talking to him, and I can't wait to chat with him again now with people getting a chance to listen to us talk to him. Former teammate of mine, former first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts, now a member of the U.S. House of Representatives over there in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, from The Ohio State University, Anthony Gonzalez.
That's my representative.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Okay, before we get into this, I want to say thank you for joining us. I know it's a big day for you. You're up for re-election. We all assume you're going to be a future president, so you already won today. Congrats.
Hell yeah.
Congrats, Gonzo. Congrats, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
The transition from sport to politician, was that an easy one? Is that one whenever you were playing? Like, whenever you and I were hanging out, having a good time or doing whatever, in the back of your mind, were you thinking you were going to get into politics at some point, or how did this naturally happen?
I thought I'd get into it at some point. I didn't think I'd get into it when I did. So my thought was, after I left the Colts and I had a cup of coffee in New England, I went to Stanford, got my MBA. I was going to stay in the business world for a very long time. And then, this will sound corny, but it is the God's honest truth. I just felt like a bit of a calling. I felt like now was the right time to get in as things were getting crazier and crazier by the second. And I thought, I'm a fairly level-headed person. I think I can bring something different to Congress. And so that was the goal. And I, turns out it's a lot harder than I thought, trying to change the tone and tenor of Congress. But we've made a lot of progress as an office and as a staff, and I'm proud of our first 2 years and hope to have 2 more.
Okay, so you're in Congress, which I just learned here in this conversation just a second ago while you said that. The idea of how that place operates, because I only know about politics from whenever a video will enter into my timeline on the internet. And normally all hell is breaking loose. When if politics make it into my Twitter or my social feed, all hell is breaking loose. What is your job as a House of Representative in the Congress world, and what the hell do you guys do over there? Great question. Great. You're not getting this question by any politician. This is a hard-hitting question, Gonzo.
That is an amazing question. So, look, what we do is we pass the laws that ultimately govern the country. If you read Article 1 of the Constitution, it's short, won't take you long. You'll see exactly outlined in detail what we're supposed to do. One of my goals is to make sure that we do not come across your timeline very often. I think the proper place for politics is in the background of everybody's life, not in the front. If we're doing our job correctly and we're passing laws and we're not, trying to kill each other every 2 seconds, metaphorically speaking, then we don't show up in your timeline. The country runs smoothly and everybody's happy. When we do what we typically do, which is just fight like cats and dogs, that's when things get a little hairy and it gets frustrating for me personally. I don't get angry much except for when we do that. I don't play the partisan games that everybody plays. I just want to see us do things that are productive and that move the country forward. And when we get in our own way, that's what I find completely distasteful. Okay. But that's also why I got into it.
Okay, well, congrats on passing laws, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. Wow. Hey, good for you. 2 years of passing laws and stuff.
That's incredible.
I feel like the last 2 years was obviously your first 2 years in politics. It has been interesting that you said that whenever it's in the background, it's better than it. For the last 2 years, for the last 4 years, this is the most the politics have ever been just shoved down everybody's throats, it feels like. That's kind of why our show does well, because we've somehow maintained an oblivious effect to that entire thing just because we're so stupid and we got our blinders on, okay? So whenever you go over there and you're kind of baptized into the politic world in the middle of the most contentious time in the history of politics, it feels like, what is the mindset? Is like every day like, okay, I got to figure out how I find an ally? Is it like Survivor or Big Brother? It's like, okay, I got to find allies in here. Or is it like I have to get, like, what is the mindset every day going in there that it doesn't just, you don't get a part of the entire massive feuds that seem to be flaring up every single day over there?
Yeah, so, I'll tell you what my focus is. My focus, first and foremost, is on my district. I represent Northeast Ohio. We have plenty of issues, and I try to do everything I can to grow our economy and keep us safe and all those things. Now, in the context of doing that, I focus the vast majority of my time on getting smart on the actual legislation, what we're working on, and relationship building, specifically with the other side. So, look, it's not hard for me to get my own side to agree with me. It's a lot harder to get to the other side. And so I spend as much time as possible building friendships, frankly, and I have great friendships on both sides of the aisle, doing just that. I mean, if you've ever put any business deal together, it's hard to do it if you hate the person you're working with, right? So, we try to bring the tenor down and do it that way. And in terms of sort of how it works, it's sort of like raising kids for anybody who has kids listening to the show, where just when you think you've got it figured out, they change 6 different ways, and you all of a sudden they're throwing poop on the floor or something. It's that kind of a dynamic where you can't ever really figure it out. As soon as you're close, things change in an instant. But that's what makes it fun, frankly, because it keeps you on your toes at all times.
Okay, so how old are you now, Gonzo?
36.
Okay, so you're 36. Happy birthday. I missed a couple.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah. Congrats. Birthday gifts coming from the office. But so you're 36 years old. It feels like, and I might be mistaken here, but when it gets into my particular world or realm, or it's on TV or whatever, it's like, what, 95 to 100-year-olds in there. Do you feel as if you're potentially you're like in an old man and ladies game? Like, is that a tough thing? Because I would assume there's like a set way things happen for a long time. And then when a younger generation has to come in, is it like you either buy in or get the hell out? Or is it like, how can we potentially adapt this process into a much more modernized world to get things done? Is that kind of how you have to approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to push the envelope because I'm somebody who's not particularly patient for results, and Congress is as slow as can be. But you're right. I mean, I think that's one of the frustrations that a lot of people in our sort of age range have, which is you look at TV and it's like, who are these people? Like, who represents me out here? And it's hard to find sometimes. And so, again, I wanted to provide a voice that, can bring a lot of different people together, not just reds and blues, but just people who want to see the government work better. And there are institutional forces certainly that have been there for probably 200 plus years that keep things slow and give power to people who, most Americans would prefer didn't have power. But that's the process that we're stuck with right now. And again, the goal is to, inside of our structure, which I think is, quite frankly, the best structure that's ever been created, the U.S. Constitution. Inside of that, how do you make change that moves the country forward?
Okay, real sports show question. Are you ready for this sports show question I'm about to say?
Yes.
So, Gonzo, is the feeling similar to catching a 70-yard go route whenever you get a law or bill passed in Congress? Is that the same type of satisfaction and self-gratification you get whenever you catch a go route from Peyton Manning or an out for a first down on third down from Peyton Manning as whenever you put a piece of legislature in front of the Congress and they say, yay, instead of nay? Is it the same type of feeling, Gonzo? Is that the same? Is that a good metaphor, Gonzo?
It's actually a great metaphor.
Okay. Hey, big sports show, Gonzo. Big sports show.
I want one of those hoodies, by the way, that you got going on.
Oh, I can get you one of these. It's a performance hoodie, so you can work out. And I don't know if you get to work out anymore now that you're changing the World Captain America style. Do you?
I do. I'm more of a runner and a swimmer, I guess. But
weapon.
But I'll get in there.
Today, you're up for re-election. What does the day look like, and what has the process been getting to this day? It has to be nerve-wracking. I mean, I remember in high school, whenever people were running for like class stuff, the kids were nervous, right? They were like actually nervous, like who cares if you win or not? I would assume for a real election, there has to be some real nerves, or is it just like I did all I could for 2 years, we'll get there? And what does today feel like and look like to you?
There's definitely nerves. I mean, again, similar to sports, a big game. I have not slept well in probably 2 or 3 weeks. As the day, approaches, you go from sleeping, 7 hours a night to something like 4 or 3. I think I woke up at 2 in the morning last night and just, disappeared into my phone until my son woke up. So, you definitely have that dynamic for sure. But, like anything else, you sort of build up to it, right? So like everything that's going to happen today has been baked over the last, however many months, right? You've been out campaigning, you've been raising money, you've been passing legislation, you've been working for your community. All of those things build up to this day. So I actually, from an analogy standpoint, I think it's more like a boxing match where you train, you have one shot. And if you don't win on that day, then you're starting all over again. Unlike a season where you get multiple shots at it.
I am ignorant to this, so please answer this question. And if it alludes to something incredibly illegal, definitely tell me that as well. Whenever people are raising money, right? You always hear about, this campaign has raised this amount of money, and it is. For the presidential election, it is a lot of fucking money. Does that money just go right into the pocket of the politician? Or like for your campaign money, like what was that money used for? And why is money so important? Is it just strictly so you can get your message across in so many different ways?
Yeah, so, you can't physically touch every voter in the district, right? I have, roughly 750,000 people in my district. And, you try to meet as many as you can, but just if you did that all day, you physically can't do it. So what the money provides is an opportunity for you to communicate with your voters, either through the mail or through digital or through TV. I mean, all these ads that you see, that's what they all go towards. They go towards ads, and then, the people making them pocket a pretty penny, I'm sure. Absolutely none of it goes to the politician, which is exactly what it should be. But yeah, all those ads that you're sick of seeing, that's where all the money goes.
Do you have any attack ads on you? What did they say about you? He's bald and stupid. What did the attack ad say about you, or did you not have any? Because that's awesome.
I didn't have any this go around. I mean, look, it's the same nonsense that everybody says. I mean, they literally, even if it's not true, they'll just make it up. I will say this: last cycle, somebody had an attack ad of me dropping a pass at Ohio State.
Should have called it.
Yeah, saying, how can you trust this guy to catch anything? To which we said, thank you for reminding the voters that I was the guy who they watched at Ohio State.
You played pretty well at Ohio State, by the way. You're pretty good at the football. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Anthony, while you were at Ohio State, I believe A.J. Hawk was also there. Was there anything that you saw from him where you're like, wow, this guy's a certified nut job, or was he just kind of like a normal dude?
AJ, honestly, and no, I know you guys have him on the show a lot. He was the best college player that I played against or with. I mean, in practice, he was unbelievable.
Really?
He was, first off, I think he was faster than the receivers. Like his 40 time at the combine was, or at pro day was like 4.37 or some crazy thing. And so you got AJ at 250 running around trying to rip your head off. And literally, I'll never forget this. I told this to somebody. The first time he tackled me, I literally felt like he was trying to drive me through the ground and like 4 feet underneath. I mean, that's how A.J. Hawk tackled. And he was amazing.
Did you know that he actually retired Kirk Herbstreit as a sophomore in high school? Herbstreit came back for an alumni game over there at Centerville High School, and A.J. went helmet to jaw on Herbstreit, and he retired forever, knocked him out, tried to kill him. Yeah, that's what A.J. Hawk does, by the way. That A.J. Hawk only knows one way. That big-ass chin is flying, and if you get in the way, CTE City's next, pal. What do you got, Tone?
Representative Gonzalez, you talked about...
This guy did not vote. Hey, Gonzo, this guy did not vote.
Hold on. The polls aren't closed yet, first off.
Now
You talked about representing Northeast Ohio and potentially fixing that. Is the most unfixable thing in Northeast Ohio the Browns?
Yes. We're great this year. I mean, you know, look, this is the best team that we've had probably in 20 years, which isn't saying something. But I like the team. I like Stefanski. I like Andrew Barry. Pat, we were with Andrew in Indy, if you remember. Great guy, super smart, probably the smartest guy in the entire NFL.
Agree.
And so, you know, if you have those pieces and, you know, we got a heck of an offense, defense needs a little work. I'm optimistic for the Brownies. It's going to be tough to catch the Steelers and the Ravens, though.
Yeah, it's going to be Steelers are undefeated. And Ben Roethlisberger just I won't say it to you because you're on the screen here. I shouldn't talk about what Ben Roethlisberger's changed his life off the field, and now he's completely in. I don't know if you've seen the headlines because you've been trying to.
Anymore.
All right, we're not getting into it. We got a representative in. Do you have something for me? Yeah. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Gonzo. At this stage of your career, do more people recognize you as their congressman, or as their representative, or do more people recognize you as an Ohio State legend?
And follow up: are you a congressman because you're in Congress?
Oh.
Yes, is the answer to that. Yeah.
Hey. Right. Just learn some more.
Civics 101 right there. So
it's not my thing, but I voted.
The answer to the question is probably both, but so like now it's definitely because of Congress. So like last night, my wife and I were at dinner with our team, and some guy came over. It's actually pretty funny. He's like, "Hey, your family immigrated here from Cuba, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I bet you hate communism." He
just walked it off. Such a good political one-liner. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, of course, he's right. So.
You're a young guy, 36 years old, taking on government. And you talked about Andrew Barry there with the Cleveland Browns. He's a young guy that's currently the GM. And you alluded to it in your original conversation about the 200-year-old institutions that make things tough. How important is it for that next generation of people to join alongside you and care about politics? Because right now, the younger generation, our generation or anything younger, the only thing we know is social media posts about people who say things about politics, and that's about it. How important is it truly for a younger generation that can maybe have some different ideals about what's really important, not important, to get into the entire government world? And do you feel like a hero being a 36-year-old guy that's going into being in Congress and trying to change the world? Because you should.
Well, I appreciate it. I do not feel like a hero, but
you're doing more than us. You are a hero.
In terms of the getting involved, so one thing I'll say, I think social media is going to be the death of American politics at some point. It is just a absolute cesspool of political information, and for somebody who's in it, you watch these tweets that just take off and get 100,000 likes or 1 million likes or whatever it is, and you're reading, you're like, 95% of this is completely inaccurate, but it's up there, and people, they gravitate towards it, and it's very misleading and difficult. So that aside, one thing about getting involved in politics that you realize is how much of an impact one individual voter or one individual person can really have in our country on somebody like me, right? So I represent, like I said, 750,000 people. The only way I know what to do is from talking to my constituents and hearing them tell me, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what you need to focus on. Here's what I need out of the government right now. And if people get involved at that level where they seek out their representative and make their voice heard, if you have any kind of representation at all, that person is going to go to work for you and go to bat for you because he works for you. At the end of the day, I literally work for the 750,000 voters or constituents in my district. And so if you don't do that and you're frustrated and angry and you think this is all garbage and you hate politics, then you're going to continue to be disappointed. But I do think if ultimately everybody takes ownership of the direction of the country in their own way and in their own community, you'd be surprised at how much you can move the needle just on an individual basis. I was shocked, frankly, when you really think back on it. And it's like, wow, the reason we passed that bill is because these 6 people told me about it, and we went in and put it before a committee and rallied up the support for it, got it passed, and now my community's better off. Those sorts of things can happen. But they only happen if you're engaged.
That's like fulfillment, I'd assume, in the politics world right there, where 6 people allude or tell you about something, and then it's your job, instead of being, which I think, by the way, and this is just me going to speak about your peers, It feels like political activists get into politics and then they forget that they're politicians. They still think they're political activists. It's like, yo, I don't need you telling me what the fuck's wrong. I need you to go fix it. Like, that is why you're there. And it feels like that's potentially a problem in the politics world. And it's interesting what you said about the social media thing. It's like, I remember going to the Colts and I would see like a Schefter tweet about something at our practice before I even got in. I'm like, how's this guy know? Like, how does this guy know before I even know? Because I might have been in the weight room or whatever. And most of the time, the insiders are accurate. With the misinformation that you just alluded to, is a lot of the stuff that you see just completely blown out of proportion and wrong? And should we be? I mean, is everything we know a lie? Like, what? Like,
no.
Did you just scare me right there, Gonzo? Like, I think you just kind of scared me there a little bit.
No, I mean, look, I think the political rhetoric that a lot of politicians, people in my position, and cable news traffic in is garbage. I think it's pure garbage. It's not meant to inform. It's not meant to move anybody closer together. It is simply meant to incite and to drive social media hits. And that's dangerous because, look, I haven't tweeted in like 4 months. This was one of my wife's great coronavirus ideas. She's like, look, you're miserable on that thing. Just don't tweet anymore. So I'm much happier as a result. Having said that, if I wanted to double my followers within 2 weeks, I think I could do it. All I would have to do is become a raving lunatic, right? And then all of a sudden, your political capital goes up somehow. Well, that's destructive. It's not helpful. And again, I think most people in the country, despite what happens on social media, don't want that. And so, it's our job as representatives, I think, to provide honest answers and to be truthful with your constituents on what's going on and how it's going to affect them. And then they get to decide every 2 years, in my position, whether they want to keep you on or throw you out.
How long are we staying in this? You're going to do this for the long haul? Are you going to be President Gonzalez one day? That'd be pretty cool for us personally.
Yeah.
Come on. Cool for us.
If you have me on every day for the next 3 years, no.
You're going to have to start being a raving lunatic then if you want that. Hey, listen, if you want it, Bub, you asked for it. You got to do it. No, is there any aspirations for that, or is it just like I'm just going to take it one day?
Honestly, I think, and this is not a BS answer. Look, the job I have is very difficult. It's very, very difficult on my family. It's a tough job. I love it. I love it more than any job I've ever had. And I will do it as long as my voters will have me. If there's anything else that I consider, the only way I would do it is if I felt like I could make a bigger impact. And it worked for me and my family way before I'm a member of Congress. I'm a dad and I'm a husband. And, that has to always be priority one. And so, you take care of that and then we'll see what happens down the road. But I would be, as I'm sitting here today, I can't see it, to be perfectly honest.
I'll tell you what, you just gave a presidential speech right there. Good luck today. I hope you get another 2 years. We appreciate you so much. And congratulations, man. This is really cool. Not a lot of NFL people can say this. So I'm very thankful you came on and joined us today.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, thanks for walking us around that building.
Yeah. White House is cool.
What was the building we weren't in the White House.
Really?
You were in the Capitol.
Yeah, you're damn right we were. That was so much fun. Anthony Gonzalez. Thank you so much. Congressman Anthony Gonzalez.
Wow.
That was pretty cool, huh?
Good combo.
Good guy.
I feel like we had a real conversation there. Congressman.
Yeah.
Good for us learning a couple things in there.
He actually seems like he cares.
He
really does.
Well, that's good. He really does. Which,
really
by the way, I don't think that's normal for politics.
I don't think it is.
750,000 constituents. 6 people tell him to do something. He goes in and passes a law for him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of his constituents, his wife, says, get off Twitter. He gets off Twitter. Look at his life. Awesome. He listens. The guy listens. The guy cares.
He said it was the job he loved most. Imagine loving being a congressman more than catching passes from Peyton Manning.
Hey, you got to remember, he got like 3 terrible injuries when he was in the NFL. Just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Very unlucky. And I think Gonzo, by the way, was the first person that opened my eyes to when media people were like, he gets injured. He's glass or whatever. It's like, maybe he just got unlucky on a couple different occasions that could happen on any single play. You know what I mean? Like, he grinded his ass off in the rehab. He was I mean, I'm happy. He's one of the best humans I've ever been around. So I'm happy he is in politics, but he's always been that type of guy, just super cool. We hung out numerous times. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Very good guy.
Not a bad dancer, too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if that counts for anything in the old political world, but congressman with some moves, probably pretty good.
Probably crushes it at fundraisers.
Probably.
Just destroys.
By the way, that money doesn't go to the politician, huh?
No.
So they say.
No, we ain't got time for
Come
it.
on.
Today's Feel Good Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, Jesus.
Feel Good Tuesday.
Come on, dude.
He likes the brownies, by the way. Likes the brownies. Said they're in a good spot. Andrew Barry is a very smart man. Andrew Barry's another person that should probably try to get in there somewhere.
He should pad up.
Yeah. What's that?
He should get in the game.
Who?
Gonza.
He is in the game of life, dude.
Come on.
And
Okay,
brownies.
Speaking of, let's talk about your poll about life.
Yeah, massive poll today.
How many people?
We have over 9,000 in there right now.
So not that big. Not that big, by the way. Thought it was going to be a lot lower. I thought this one was going to be a go. I thought this poll was going to hit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Who wins the 2020 election? Joe Jorgensen, 6.2%. Kanye, 14%. Biden, 33%. Trump, 46.7%.
Uh-oh.
We have our own poll going on right now.
I wish Gonza was in there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we should have put Anthony Gonzalez in there. Joe Jorgensen, 6.2% for the Libertarians. Shout out to that.
Yeah, shout out. Seriously.
They're showing up
Pretty
today.
good.
The Libertarians are making a little bit of a play, I think. I didn't even know what it was, maybe a month and a half ago. Now, just hearing all about
I
it.
didn't know what it was this morning.
Well, gubernatorial candidate Rainwater, he's a Libertarian. And I've heard him saw everything down. He gets out there and just like, do you think blah, blah, blah? He's like, don't need it. Don't need it. What do we have it for? It's stupid. Let the people do it. I'm like, hey, Rainwater, not a bad fucking idea.
Okay.
I don't know if that would ever work as an actual governing body style, but I like what you're saying, pal. Just like, yeah, who needs it? We don't need it. You need rules? Nah, just fucking let the humans do their thing.
Only one way to find out if it's going to work or not.
Love it. What, you're going to vote in Rainwater? Rainwater might make a play here in Indiana, to be honest. That gubernatorial debates that I watched, Rainwater was stern but fair.
And that's what we need.
That's what we need. The Democrat guy for the governor of Indiana is all about passing weed. Like, he's just 100% in.
Really?
Yeah, the guy can't speak for a minute, though, without looking at his paper, so it makes me kind of question things. And
he's stoned.
No, I think if he was, it would be
a little better.
Bit better. You know, I think he'd be a little bit. I don't think he's a great public speaker, but he's all about the weed. So I did like a little bit of a perk up whenever he started talking, and then he got two sentences in and kind of Jason Wittened and then looked down and then came back in. I'm like, oh, still got it. Okay, got it. And then Holcomb, the guy who's currently in Republican, Indiana, I think, has had a Republican governor for, I don't know, maybe 150 years or something like that.
Did Rainwater light him up?
The governor?
Yeah.
Rainwater lit up both of them at all times. Rainwater lit up both of them. The Libertarian, and they had him in the middle, by the way. So it was like the Democratic candidate was on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
The Libertarian was in the middle, and then the Republican was on the right. And they're all in the same building, but 3 different rooms because of social distancing and whatever.
Ooh.
And whenever Rainwater would go, he would go like last or whatever. He would just saw down both sides. Stupid, basically. Hey, he went out there and, he took some pitches, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a chance here in Indiana, I don't think.
Probably not.
But he took a swing at it. Joe Jorgensen's doing that right now.
Yeah, that's right.
6-point-some%. Not a bad.
Good
I was going to take a phone call and read an ad, but we got no time. Tuesday, November 3rd.
What are you going to do?
It's Tuesday, baby.
It's a big day.
Big it is.
Bucks beat the Giants last night. Packers play Niners on Thursday. Trade deadline is today. We'll go over all the humans that are potentially on the trade block on the other side. Also take some phone calls. Talk about whatever you want. To be honest, we assume that our numbers are going to be much lower today than any other day. Mm-hmm. But we'll just keep on talking that bullshit.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's all.
Hour 2 of the Pat McAfee Show here, Sirius XM Channel 82. Mad Dog Sports Radio is on the other side. We have Mark Schlereth joining us. We'll talk to him about the football. We'll talk about the trade deadlines, who's going where, who's injured. Bill Belichick flexed on everybody. Cannot wait to chat about that. Maybe my favorite thing that has happened in this 2020 NFL season, Bill Belichick did yesterday on OMF of WEEI Radio in Boston. We'll take some of your phone calls, and we'll continue to make this the greatest Tuesday in the history of Tuesdays. This is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you on the other side. Go take a shit. Well, hello, sensual piano keys. you sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. Oh, by the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
What is this?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh my God. That is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in it for you. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Well, $50,000 in it.
Oh my God.
Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000 in there.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
You brought it back?
Oh, man. Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is...
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
We did it?
Couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money.
You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
And you should know, those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So, Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration, because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years, in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth. Oh shit. Hey Steven, fuck you.
Don't cut. And it is off the wall.
Don't cut. This is a good at bat. Hey, nice pitch. I think I just pulled a hammy. Hey, back. Hey, fuck you, Steven. What inning?
Top of the second.
Jesus.
Here comes McAfee.
I saw that thing jumping out of the glove. Hey, what was that? Would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw.
Get back.
First. He's going back on it now, coming over the center fielder. Harris makes the catch.
Cousin. James. What was that? And the catcher goes, I had to give you one.
1-1 pitch.
Let's go.
Line drive right
son of a
at
bitch.
the
This is a good at bat. Oh, in my head, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to drop this for sure. What the fuck are you even doing here? Why'd we sign up for this? What's going on? It all comes down to this. My last at bat. Hey, I'm going to get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker.
Let me tell you something. If you're going to take an L, okay, you're going to take one.
So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect for you.
Oh, this is hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
Number one, right fielder,
McAfee at the plate.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, a day that will be talked about for some time. Hour 2 kicks off right now after that beautiful Twine beat drop. In the first hour, we had Representative Congressman Anthony Gonzalez, former teammate of mine, on to chit-chat about the political world, the sports world kind of being a metaphor for him now taking over Washington, D.C. and Congress however he can. Great conversation. And by the way, we might end up having one of the most watched, we won't. Because the most watched videos today will be like people yelling at each other and hating each other and all that stuff. Yeah. But the thing that Gonzo talked about with the way, political rhetoric is going right now on the Twitter from us. So look at us getting involved on the,
look at that.
The political world.
Not just a sports show.
Oh, maybe I should start giving my opinion. Yeah! This is probably what happens, by the way, to sports shows that think that they should dive into the political world. Is like, I speak good about sports, so, I should probably tell the country how to be run, too.
Yeah, they'd like it.
What a fucking stupid concept that is. A man that I would vote for, by the way, for president if he ran, had one of the most awesome quotes I've ever heard from a human in recent history, just yesterday on OMF of WEEI Radio, which is up there in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
OMF at Boston Connor is a show that you have heard of before?
OMF, no, but WEEI, yes.
Okay, so OMF came into the conversation yesterday on social media because a quote from Bill Belichick came out of it, their conversation, that was just absolutely glorious. And it isn't until you actually listen to it that you truly respect it. Evan Fox, please run that audio, please, sir.
So, it was an honest answer to an honest question. That's no more, no less than that. But I'm sure you can read a lot into it if you want to. That wasn't the intent.
But it just is. I know you've done this in the off season and you've looked at it in the off season, but doing it in the middle of a season here when you're still playing games, is there a purpose for actually explaining it to everybody right now?
Is there? He just answered that email he just got.
Seems pretty obvious to me. What's the question?
Well, I will say that what it sounds like is like a lot of excuses, like COVID excuses, things that you haven't ever said before.
No, it's not. I didn't say it was an excuse. I never said that.
No, I didn't say you did.
Well, then don't
fucking say it.
Right. I mean, look, we paid Cam Newton $1 million. I mean, it's obvious we didn't have any money. It's nobody's fault. That's what we did the last 5 years. We sold out and won 3 Super Bowls, played in the 4th, and played in an AFC Championship game.
Boom!
What's up?
This year we had less to work with.
I mean, what he just rammed off, and I wanted to show the video and have the entire thing because shout out to whoever that was. I don't know if that was O-M or F of OMF, but him saying, it sure sounds like those are excuses is awesome. Like that is such a difficult question to probably ask. I would assume that while he was asking it, other people in the room were looking at him like, are you really asking Bill Belichick that? But what he got in return was maybe a little bit of an irritated Bill Belichick that showed a side that I thank God that Bill Belichick has. Because if Bill Belichick was this guy who was always like, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, we got to work. Like, and then you hear all these Tom Brady quotes about nothing I've done in the past matters. It only matters about. You would assume that those quotes are the standard in New England. It's like nobody cares what you've done in the past. What do you do today? And that's always been the conversation around Bill Belichick, is that he somehow always is motivated. He somehow always is out thinking, and he never really rests on his yawnies or his laurels. You know what I mean? He never does that. Now we get a chance to hear him be like, yeah, like, hey, motherfuckers, like, last 5 years we won 3 Super Bowls, one to another one, went to an AFC championship. Did anybody not know what was going to, like, you need to stop questioning everything that you guys are questioning. And that leads me to believe that Bill Belichick, whenever he's speaking to other people in the football world, they laugh at how terrible other football. Like, I think Bill Belichick is an absolute savage, and I love that. Like, not only have I always appreciated and respected the way he coaches and the way he's been able to do something over 20 years that is just unprecedented and probably never happen again in the NFL, because the parity in the NFL is just the standard of the league and why the league is so great. Bouncing back 9 Super Bowls in 20 years, 6 wins in the last 5 years, 3 Super Bowls, going to a 4th. The fact that he knows that, like, makes me love him even more. Like, the fact that he probably has conversations where he's like, yeah, I'm the greatest coach of all time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I want to sell Subway sandwiches, I'll fucking do it. Okay? Like, if I want to do this, I'll do it. If I want to wear this ripped off sweater, I will do it. Like, it doesn't matter. You want to ask me a question? I don't have to answer. You know why? Greatest coach of all time.
What's up?
That, I feel like that is now in Belichick, and I love that guy asked a great question, kind of prodded him a little bit, and got it out there. And I would like let Bill Belichick know, like, hey, all warranted, bud. You just keep it going and do whatever you need to do. You should be celebrating and dancing on graves of the people in the NFL for the last 20 years. Joining us now is a man who knows a lot about the NFL. I would assume that he feels the same exact way I do about Bill Belichick, because damn near everybody who's ever played in the NFL knows how hard it is to win in the NFL. And the fact that Belichick was able to do that for 20 years, basically, with salaries and the way it all goes, it's unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, Super Bowl champ, Mark Schlereth.
Yeah! Let's go, Steve.
How you doing, bub?
What's happening, man? How are you, Pat?
I'm great. Happy Tuesday, November 3rd to you. It's going to be the greatest Tuesday of all time, pal.
Yeah, you know what? Trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, trade deadline's coming up, so you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, that's exactly big day, trade deadline day. I want to go back. I don't know if you got a chance to hear what Bill Belichick said. You heard the tail end of me talking about how he went to, I don't know if it was O, M, or F who asked the question, but him going, last 5 years we went to 4 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. Like, I like that he finally flexed on people a little bit. Like, I like to know that that's in there, because we know nothing about the guy.
Oh, there's no question. And there's no question that Bill Belichick is, you know, I've always said this about the Patriots in general, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, is the most amazing thing to me about those guys is their insatiable appetite for success. Like, most people are sated by a level of success to where they relax a little bit, they take some time off, they maybe don't grind like they used to grind because, you know, they've got a great resume. And the fact that he continues to grind, that he continues to do the things he does, as same thing with Tom Brady, has been absolutely amazing. You know, the thing about franchises like that put together unbelievable kind of dynastic runs is, I think, obviously, you got to have the quarterback, not only that plays at a high level, but allows you to coach everybody. Right, that gives permission to you as the head coach to coach me hard for 20 years, like Brady did, to say, I'm going to put up with your baloney, I'm going to put up with your crap, just because I know ultimately it helps you coach the rest of the football team. And if you'll do it to me, and if I put up with it, then everybody has to put up with it. Just a remarkable run. And you're right, Bill Belichick is a phenomenal coach, has his players prepared, develops them well, and the proof is in the pudding. Just look what they've done over 20 years.
I didn't even think about that being a skill that Tom Brady had, of acknowledging that, hey, if I get chewed out, then nobody is above getting chewed out. I didn't even think about it from that, like, that's a zoomed out picture looking at that thing. Because not only is Tom Brady saying, like, yeah, I can continue to get better, and yeah, I need to hear this type of thing, he's also saying and acknowledging that if he's allowed to do this to me, literally everybody else has to take it as well. And that's something that I don't think gets talked about ever, actually, in the entire thing.
Oh, I lost you.
Well, you sound good, but that's something that never.
I lost you there for a second, Pat.
Well, are you back or not? Because what you just said there was incredibly profound that I haven't even really thought about. Can you hear me?
I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, are you good?
Okay, yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, I've always believed that about Tom Brady and talking to guys. And I played with Teddy Bruschi for a long time, and Teddy Bruschi would say all the time, Bill Belichick would come in a meeting in front of the entire team and say to Tom Brady, go, hey man, I could get a high school quarterback from Foxborough High to do what you just did on that particular play, and absolutely rip him, eviscerate him in front of the entire team. And as a coach, you have to be given permission to have your star player, accept that kind of coaching. And that's who Bill Belichick is. And so I always look at Tom Brady with a lot of respect for what that team was able to accomplish because of the way he has operated.
How'd you see it last night, man? I thought they were going to stomp the Giants, and then it just looked like the defense wasn't the same defense it had been for the last couple weeks. Danny Dimes was making plays. And I do believe if my film study and conversations I've had with smart people is accurate, what they did to Tom Brady on the defense side of the ball, they just dropped everybody into coverage like 7-8 people and then tried to get Tom out of the pocket, and it was just kind of like, is that the blueprint to beat him? But I expected them to win by a lot last night. They still got some things to figure out, it seems like.
Yeah, I think they probably, you look at the film and what they were able to do. The Giants, and I've done a couple Giants games, they want to ground and pound you. They want to beat you up. They want to run a bunch of gap schemes and just kind of run downhill on you. And I thought it was really good what Jason Garrett did with getting the ball out of Danny Dimes' hands, quick throws to the edge. Try to eliminate some of that speed at the inside linebacker position by getting it out to the edge really quickly. And he was very good. Missed a couple of throws, obviously, some deep throws. The one thing about playing Tom Brady, when you have an opportunity, you have that team on its heels, or Tampa on its heels, you got to come away with scores. You can't be kicking field goals. You can't be turning the ball over. You can't do those things. And ultimately, I was with you. I thought they'd cover the 10.5. There was no question that was what I thought would happen. And they played pretty well, or very well. So I thought that was impressive. That 2-point conversion PI call that got picked up. The shoe was on the other foot. If that was Tom Brady throwing that ball, that would have been a flag, and they would have gotten us playoffs.
Stink, hold on, Stink.
I'm okay with that.
Hold on, Stink. I was very confused by this because this happened twice last night where they got into a circle. They talked for 45 seconds to a minute and 15 seconds, maybe even a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And then they come back and they're like, after discussion, we're going to rule it out. They have to have somebody in their ear telling them, watching the video, right? They have to. There's no way. Who's telling the story that's like, well, the only person that really had eyes on it was the person that threw the flag. And then did somebody go, oh, well, it seemed like it was just perfect timing. They have to have somebody in their ear during those discussions. They have to.
They got together and go, wow, we can't let this game end. Oh wait, no, it was Danny Dimes. It wasn't Brady.
Oh, fuck that.
Get out of here. Hey, screw that kid. Like he hasn't earned it yet, right? He stares down too many receivers. Forget him. Let's move on. Let's get out of here. Yeah. So I don't want to do overtime. I don't know if they got somebody in there. Obviously, as the play goes, everybody turns and looks at it. But you're right. There's one guy assigned to it. That's one guy's assignment. If that's the guy that threw the flag, how does he all of a sudden be overruled by everybody else? Like, hey, man, I got dinner reservations. Let's get out of here. I don't know.
Hey, we're gonna go vote. That's probably what they said.
Yeah, and I'm all for. Hey, Pat, I'm all for letting them play, right? I don't mind a little. I don't mind a little fisticuffs. I don't mind a little bumping and grinding. It's.
I don't see nothing wrong.
Yeah.
With a little bumping and grind. You nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Diggs, what do you got?
Mark, you did Seattle and San Francisco on Sunday. Quick turnaround for 49ers on Thursday versus Green Bay. Are they going to have anyone or anything left for the Green Bay Packers on Thursday?
Yeah, I got so many Bay Area fans hate me. Like Raider fans hate me, and I understand. I was 11-1 against their punk asses my time. You should hate me, and Niner fans, because I'm not going to make excuses for injuries. Like, hey, most of us got our opportunity to play in the league when somebody got injured. So I'm like, hey, have it. Now the Niners are decimated. I get it, they're decimated, but at the end of the season, you don't get a certificate of participation for playing the NFL. Like, you got to show up and you got to play well. And I always had a rule when I was playing. not only do you have to play hurt, you have to play injured, and you have to play well hurt and injured. And if you don't, we'll find somebody else who can do it. And so, I always pride myself on not only playing injured and playing hurt, but playing well hurt and injured. And so I just think that that's the way the league is, and everybody's hurt right now, some more than others, but it's not an excuse. You got to show up and you got to play. And so, I don't want to hear a bunch of whiners. There's a bunch of people that, it's not fair. Life ain't fair. I don't know if you know that. It's not. So get over it.
They got $80 million in salary cap on IR right now. You could see how they're potentially upset, but you're right. It happens to everybody. It's just which positions has it happened to. And the next man up philosophy is a philosophy in the NFL that has been there since the beginning of the NFL. But when it happens to your quarterback, your star tight end, and another wide receiver, you can see how the fans are just heartbroken, especially after a run to the Super Bowl last year. But let's talk about the Thursday night game against the Packers. Because last time the Niners and the Packers played, Kyle Shanahan had his offense run for 186 yards before contact in the NFC Championship game. Is that scheme one that it doesn't matter who's in there? It doesn't matter if George Kittle's out there road grading as a tight end and being an extra offensive lineman. It doesn't matter if Jimmy G is not in. Nick Mullins, who actually almost made that a game late there for you guys while calling that game. Does it matter? Is the scheme good enough to potentially slice and dice this Packers defense that can't stop a damn nosebleed in the running game?
Yeah, their run scheme is incredible, and they do a great job. Now, tell me if Debo Samuel is back or not, because Debo Samuel he's just a different cat, right? His ability to run the specials, whether that's the jet sweeps or the orbit stuff, just running straight out of the backfield, his ability, it gives them another dynamic nature kind of player to not only run the ball, but to set up some of the tunnel screens and the reverse screens and some of the other things they do. So he's a guy that creates explosives for them. And without him, it hurts their running game. But I go back to Green Bay. I've always thought about this. If you're a team that predicates itself on throwing the ball and being kind of fancy and doing some of those things, and that's great, but I always felt like your defense suffers a little bit because that's what they're used to defending in practice, in camp and all those things. Go back through Green Bay's thumpings that they've taken. You mentioned that playoff game against San Francisco. I think Jimmy Garoppolo threw it 8 times in that game, if memory serves.
Yeah,
like
6
attempts in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. 8 attempts is a quarter in the NFL. He did it in the entire 4 quarters, 8 attempts. And then you go the losses this year. Tampa Bay, I think Tom Brady in that game had 160 yards passing. They physically dominated that game. And then last week, what was it? 14 attempts, I believe, for Kirk Cousins. They physically dominated that game too. So when you punch the Packers in the mouth, when you physically dominate them, they don't respond very well. So that's the one thing that lends itself to believing that San Francisco has an opportunity in this game. The other thing is, watching Jimmy Garoppolo on film the last couple of weeks, I did the Miami game where they pulled him, and then the last couple of weeks, Pat, there were so many throws behind the line of scrimmage. There were only 3 throws in the game before where he threw it over 10 yards. He had a couple of basics to the tight end, and one what they call a locker in the West Coast offense was about 18-yard basic, which is just a in-cutting route from the inside receiver from the slot or the tight end. So those were the only 3 balls that traveled over 10 yards in the entirety of that game. Everything else was a tunnel screen behind the line of scrimmage, maybe a little now route or a little stick route on the outside. There was really nothing that went down the football field. And when you watch Jimmy try to load up and push one down the football field, he comes off he basically lifts his back foot off the ground because you can see that it bites, that ankle hurts. And so he may go on IR for the rest of the season. I don't know. They're going to evaluate whether he needs to have ankle surgery or not. But I had talked to him. I talked to him last week, last Saturday, and I just like, how bad is that thing killing you? And he's like, it bites me a couple times a game where I can't drive on the football, and you can see it in the way it comes out of his hand.
So that's why when Nick Mullins came in, he was much more comfortable because he was probably like 30% more healthy, 40% more healthy than Jimmy G was with that ankle. And by the way, the feet and the base for a quarterback is the most important part of everything.
Sure, absolutely. If you can't drive the football, you tend to drop your elbow, you get underneath the football, a bunch of flutters. I mean, there's a lot of things that don't work. Hey, Nick Mullins is not a strong arm guy. This is the ultimate kind of this is the ultimate backhanded compliment. I talked to Kyle Shanahan about Nick Mullins a couple of years ago, and his response was, at some point, he's going to make a great coach. Right? That's when you don't have the arm talent to really survive long-term or be a long-term starter, but you're so damn smart. You know where to go with the football. And Nick Mullins has told me the same thing, man. I got to be on time, get the ball out. I know exactly what the defense presents, so I know where to throw the ball. And Nick can do that. Nick is a very smart player, very smart quarterback, and they can be successful. And they can win a lot of games with Nick Mullins. So, I look at them. With him coming in there, it solidifies that position. Now if they can continue to run the ball and do the things they do, because they're so multiple in the running game, they'll run everything off of a kind of a wide stretch mentality, but they do it out of so many different formations, so many different personnel groupings. And so they'll take one play, like 18 handoff, for instance, and they'll say, okay, 18 handoff. We're going to enter the tight end and the fullback in different positions. So 9 guys on your offense are doing the exact same thing that they will always do on 18 handoff. But 1 minute, the tight end is entering the front side, and he's on tied with the tackle. The next minute, he's off the ball, and he's blocking the backside. And now the fullback is taking over. Now all of a sudden, the fullback is got the Mike backer, and everybody else is coming off to the safety, and the backside stays solid. Then all of a sudden, the fullback is now on the backside linebacker.
Yeah, of course.
So you look at it, and it's one play where 1 or 2 guys change their responsibilities, and to the defense, it literally looks like 15, 16 different plays. And you're only changing one guy's responsibility or 2 guys' responsibility. So everybody else is running the same damn thing they always run. And that's the brilliance of kind of entry points and the way Kyle Shanahan really orchestrates this offense. And it's the same damn offense that I played in, but it's the offense that I played in, on Dianable. It's just gotten a lot bigger. There's a lot more volume to it.
That 18 handoff sounds like a real punch in the face, doesn't it? Yeah. Because every once in a while, that tight end will come back and get the backside, then the fullback will get the Mike, and then the safety. Let's not even account for what's going to happen to safety. So he's throwing the fastball, and it looks like a curveball and the changeup at the same time. That's what Kyle Shanahan's offense is. It kind of deceives people while also punching them in the mouth. Did I break that?
You're 100% right. It's the same pitch coming from the same damn arm slot all the time, and it always. It's always a different pitch, but it always looks the same. Yeah, I like it. Stay tight on that backside, right? It's tight on the backside. There it is, and then just deliver. Right. Don't let your body get ahead of your arm though, because then your arm will drag. Then your arm gets long, and when your arm gets long, you're either going to miss high and outside, or you're going to pull the ball and you're going to push it in the ground at the foot inside.
Yeah, I watched Mr. Babansky.
Tom
Amansky in his videos at like 2, 3 a.m. teaching me how to throw. That's where I learned. I learned from Sam Amansky. What do you got, Connor?
Mark, your former team, Denver Broncos, are picking up a little momentum. Do you see them as buyers today? And also, will teams be a little hesitant to call because Elway and the CEO just got COVID?
Yeah. I don't see them as buyers. I really don't. They're a super young team, and let's face it. They beat the Jets and they beat the Patriots. Now that doesn't look like such an accomplishment.
Geez.
And then the Chargers always give up a 17, 20-point lead. I mean, that's just what the Chargers do, right? So I don't think they're going to be buyers at this point. I think that they are looking at it like, hey, man, we've got a really young team offensively. We're going to have our struggles. We're going to continue to play. If they expand to 8 playoff teams in each division like they're talking about right now, we may have a chance to be that eighth seed, but I just don't see them actually getting involved in that.
Mark, in terms of the trade deadline, if you're a player on one of those teams who's kind of like a fringe team who can, make a push to the Super Bowl, are those guys cognizant that they need another piece, or is it kind of like, well, we have no control over this, so it's not something we're going to worry about. We can win with the guys we have in here?
I don't think, as a player, I don't think you really think about it. I always told young guys when I was in the league for a lot of years, I always told young guys, I said, you know what you should do, especially because there's a lot of young guys that make a team and think they're there, and the average career expectancy is still 3.4 years. It hasn't changed since the game was created. And so the odds of you playing for a long time are pretty limited. So I always told young guys, do yourself a favor, show up to this facility on a Tuesday. just kind of hang out, sit in your locker, maybe get a lift in, whatever, and watch how many players they roll through here to replace you. And it's one of the most sobering things you can do as a player. Come watch what this organization is doing while you have your day off and you're at home patting yourself on the back going, wow, I had a really good game. I have 4 special team tackles or whatever it is. Like, go watch and see exactly how they operate, because they're constantly looking for somebody to take your place. So I always thought that it was a really kind of sobering aspect to the game, and it was really helpful to actually, be injured and come in and see it happen firsthand and go, you better perform. This is a performance league. It's as my friend Clint Hurdle used to say, it's not a try-hard league, it's a do-good league. And if you're not doing good, they're going to find somebody who will.
Vinatieri told a story about a couple years ago. He was hurt or whatever, and he was in rehab. And I guess with the way they redid the facility, where the training room is, there's a window that goes out to the practice field. Vinatieri's GOAT at this point, Hall of Famer at this point, has won a bunch of Super Bowls. They're working on his leg, and there was 3 kickers out on the field kicking or whatever, and they were watching them. And Vinny said, I was sitting there watching thinking, there's no way in hell any of those dudes are going to take my job. Like, that's a guy who's at the pinnacle, Hall of Famer. He's watching those guys work out, and he was like, there ain't no chance any of these dudes are taking my job. Like, that's just a real thing. In the NFL, by the way, it's always happening. It's always happening. Right now, if they can get younger and cheaper, they're going to do that immediately upon the ability to do so.
There is no question about it. So it's just one of those things, again, that you should be aware of. As a young player, it's a privilege to play in this league. I really believe that. And it takes, a lot of work, and you got to put up with a lot of stuff. And like I said earlier, you got to play injured, you got to play hurt, you got to be willing to do those things if you want to last.
You think I take you about 450 to 500 feet if you were to pitch me a ball right now?
Well, there's no question, because first off, my fastball is rolling in there at about 48. I'm like 50. So it is like going to the batting cages, right? I mean, it's just going to be real easy.
That's awesome.
Got a little lollipop to it. So, if you take that uphill, if you got that uphill, swing pattern, right? Yeah. That thing's going a long way somewhere.
You play old man beer league softball at all?
No.
Hey, there's these dudes on the internet that take these softballs, mortar, and they slap at it like this almost, and I might get into the beer league softball.
Ooh. Yeah, you gotta. But here's the thing, because you probably have a good back, right? Like, I've had multiple back surgeries, so I don't have like mine is all like arms. My back doesn't move; it just goes like. Here's my hands; they just go.
Yeah.
Quick hands.
Yeah, you're old.
And my back I never get any rotational force to it. There's no rotation.
Yeah, you need to do yoga, they say. What's up, Nick?
Mark, the Steelers are obviously undefeated, playing great, whatever, but the Chiefs are still the class of the AFC. Do you see the Steelers being able to match up with Kansas City?
Well, listen, I mean, if you can rush the passer like they can rush the passer, and you can create some turnovers, you've always got a chance. I'd like to see, like, I went through kind of a deep dive, because I'm here in Denver, of how the Chiefs have lost games. So over the last 8 years, I went through this whole went through the coaches tape on, okay, how did they lose these games? And, the funny thing is everybody will tell you, well, to beat the Chiefs, you got to get in a track meet with them, right? You got to outscore them. You got to get, into a scoring matchup. And it's just a bunch of shit. Like, that is total garbage. The only team that, now, you got to score, right? When you get in the red zone, you best score. The only team that kept it low scoring was, I think it was 2 years ago, was the Colts. Beat them like 19-16, something like that.
Jacoby.
But the thing that every team has done when they beat the Chiefs is they possess the ball, they have churned out first downs, and they have limited the Chiefs to about 8 possessions. And so they scored on every one of their possessions. They held on to the ball. They beat every team had almost a 40 to 20 time of possession advantage, like a ridiculous advantage. And they still won, 30 to 29.
Yeah.
Because the thing is the Chiefs will score in a minute and 12 seconds. They just roll down the field. So you've got to limit their possessions. You got to get 1 or 2 stops in those limited 8 possessions. And then every time you have the ball, you possess it, you hold on to it, you keep Patrick Mahomes on the field, on the sideline, and you got to come away with touchdowns. And it was the Chargers that did it, the Titans that did it, the Colts that did it. I went through even the Patriots, and they did it in different fashions. The Chargers, I think, had 29 first downs in the game they beat the Chiefs on. 29 first downs, and almost all of them were passing. It was just all the short passing games. So the thing to me is possess the ball, keep Mahomes and that offense on the sideline, understand that they're going to score, and they're going to score in a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But you have to possess it. You've got to limit their opportunities. You got to get 1 or 2 stops in that. So they only have 6 scoring opportunities. And if you do that, you got a chance. But if you think you're coming out there and going, hey, we're just as fast as the Chiefs, at the end of the day, you're going to look up at the score. It's going to be 45 to 17. You're like, what the hell happened? Well, you got chiefed. That's what happened.
Steelers could do it, though. Steelers could do it. We'll see how it goes. I can't thank you enough. The chili in the office is a fan favorite.
Man. Love the food.
Oh, you got it?
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Put some in the freezer, obviously, so we can save it down the road. We let some thaw out because the instructions that came with it were very, very nice and very easy. Yep. We've loved it over here.
The queso one.
Good. Did you try the queso yet?
Yeah.
Queso
That's
one's
the favorite. Yeah, that's the crowd favorite over here. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you guys got it. Enjoy. Hey, you can go to stinkinggood.com if you want to order some.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, stinkinggood.com.
We have any promo codes we can give out right now, or is it just...
if I had a promo code, I'd give it to you. Hey, just type in stink. You'll pay full price.
There we go. Hey, very nice of you. And it's worth every single penny with how good it is. Ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Super Bowler, Mark Schlereth. Thank you, Stink. All right, let's get to a break. Learned a lot there.
Yeah.
Just imagine him just sitting there watching all the film. It's like a Wednesday morning or something like that. Just had his coffee.
Chili.
What am I going to do today? I'm going to watch every Chiefs loss. All right. I'm going to go into my fucking room, and I'm just going to go ahead and go after it here. For what? That has to take him 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, yeah. At least.
Even if you just go fast through that entire thing, it has to take 4 or 5 hours. Has to. Just come right out of it. Remember everything you just did. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go watch the Steelers' last 10 games. There's some guys that just love watching film. John Gruden had that fired Football Coaches of America or whatever association, just strictly so he can make an excuse to go watch film at like 5 a.m. every day. Good for them.
Good for them.
Mike McCarthy had that laboratory in his basement, too.
Yeah, which is apparently maybe a lie now that we're kind of watching this whole thing.
A lot of Red Robin in there.
All right, we got some...
Red Robin.
Yum. No free ads. Fuck them. Great ice cubes. We'll be back on the other side with some of your phone calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
He's saying don't go off the top. It's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up. They start shaking it. They go, whoa. Hey, look, things are going good, Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis. His dad was a quarterback in Texas. Yeah. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis.
Okay.
Hey. Yeah, Boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of Boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. It's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to
What sign am I going to make for college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU.
That's years and years of patience. Right now? Okay, let's do it. We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do
higher than I thought.
You built your ladder.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Do we have any other shirts? Yeah, hold on.
You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Russia. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there.
That's full commitment, by the way. I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Oh, don't do it. Isn't it? I mean, it takes like a minute, so we're just going to go ahead and...
It's a journey.
Oh, yeah. Maybe go ahead and get a drink out of the cup holder if you're in the truck or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's in. Maybe coffee, maybe some water.
Maybe some Mountain Dew.
Maybe some Mountain Dew. Get all jacked up.
Might need some whiskey with this.
You're on one of those headset things that's like a video game thing, but you're driving your truck.
A blue parrot.
And you're probably in the left lane trying to pass some asshole that was driving too slow, and we appreciate you.
Get out of the way.
Go ahead and raise that glass up wherever you have it in your truck there. Right over top of the wheel, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Give a little cheers to the other drivers and say, hey, good to fucking see you out here.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be the greatest Tuesday of all time.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a swig out of your coffee, Mountain Dew, water, whatever it is. Put it back into the cup holder now. You go ahead, you take your hand and put it on that string that does the air horn or whatever. And when this thing goes, you just go ahead and slam that motherfucker. Down the river of the Ohio. This song's a heater, dude. I'll see you on the other side. If I go, honey, let me go. Down the river of the Ohio. It's a banger, dude. Is it about dying, though?
It might be. Or about burying a body or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Big. What type of music is that right there?
Folk.
Big folk rock.
That's life, baby.
That's life music.
That's live, baby.
This is a sports show, but there is a lot of life happening. You're the Buffalo there, by the way. Ohio River, absolute banger. Congrats to them making a smash heat. By the way, congrats to them.
Yeah.
At Viva Lazito, we have a poll about life today, and it seems like it has grown mightily since the last time we checked in on it.
Yes, it is even more massive than we could think of. The poll is, who wins the 2020 election? Joe Jorgensen, 5.9%.
Oh, she's lost some ground.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Kanye, 13.7%.
He's also lost some ground.
Oh, yeah. And Biden, 32%, and Trump, 48.4%. That is over 40,000 votes as of right now.
Hey, that's a pretty big poll. We got that one into hour 2 here, 40 minutes into it. Joe Jorgensen is representing the Libertarians, obviously, 5.9% of this 43,000 poll. Kanye representing the birthday party.
Yes.
As we do recall.
Happy birthday, y'all.
As we do, happy birthday to Kanye, getting 13.7%. Joe Biden, 32%. And Trump, in what seems to be a little bit of an early runaway here, 48.4% on our poll, which has been retweeted by a lot of people and have gotten out there. What if this thing gets to over 100,000 votes, 200,000 votes? That's like a real legit, we have like an actual legit political thing going on.
It's gonna, too.
Are we the most diverse show of all time? Potentially.
Sounds like it.
Look at our range, baby. We just did some folk rock singing with a toast to the truck drivers.
Oh, nice.
Okay? You see what we just did right there? By the way, I can't believe those words got out of my mouth as smooth as they did because they were being pieced together in the brain while the word previous to the word that was coming out was getting put together. I mean, so that was a last-minute Tetris spin into the whole thing. Feel pretty good about that. Then we have that happening on our show. We have Mark Schleier's Super Bowl talk show. And now we have potentially one of the biggest polls going on the internet here on the day of the election. Good for fucking Tuesday. By the way, started in a basement. Everybody talks about Steve Jobs in that garage. Give a little shout out to the fucking haunted basement.
Seriously, think about it.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Danny up there in Boston. What's going on, Danny?
Hey, how's it going, Pat?
Not too shabby, Danny. Thanks for calling, pal. What do you want to talk about, bub?
So I want to talk about the Patriots and everybody saying how we should blow the team up and how they're dead. Is that a fair statement, or can we put an asterisk next to that considering the salary cap issues and all the players opting out like Donta Hightower, Patrick Chung, and Marquise Lee?
Great question. The salary cap thing everybody has to deal with. So I don't think you put an asterisk next to that, by the way. Always thought it was an X at the end of said word. Turns out it's the word risk at the end. And you run the risk of looking like a stooge if you say it on national television to somebody that's much smarter than you, and they kind of rub it in your face.
Sure, I didn't know that.
Yeah, college game day or whatever. They talked about an asterisk being next to the season or whatever. And I said the asterisk should say, because the asterisk is normally at the bottom there, and it explains that something needs to be a little bit further explanation, right? So if they could accurately describe what said asterisk is, it should be a more respected title that they had to hunker down, bunker down. Not only did they have to beat the opponents, they also had to beat COVID. They couldn't live life normally. They weren't able to go through regular practices, off seasons, meetings, nothing like that. And they were still able to win while everybody had to battle against that. If the asterisk is properly described at the bottom and they can put together 2020 and the world shutting down and everything that happened, I think said asterisk is what I said would be one that's actually a compliment as opposed to a takeaway. In Reese Davis, I mean, right behind me, he was like, they would have an asterisk potentially about it, and maybe the asterisk would, like he did it a couple times there. And I like Reese and I get along very well, but I actually kind of enjoyed the intellectual dunk that he kind of did on me. I guess I actually kind of enjoy that, but that is something I'll never forget after that. But when it comes to the asterisk next to the Patriots 2020 season, can't have the salary cap in there because everybody's got to deal with that. But I definitely do believe Patrick Chung and the boys opting out just weeks before the season started, basically, and it just started coming in like numbers and Tom Brady leaving. I think there should be a little bit of a conversation revolving around that. But I think the general conversation should be, at this point, Bill Belichick has turned completely heel. He's a savage, and I am pumped for the next, 10 weeks of the season to hear what his thoughts are on how the NFL has been. He also came out and said he thinks the Jets are better this year than they were last year. So, he's starting to, open up. I think that'll be the biggest story. Do I think they're dead? Obviously. I think everybody knows that they're going to rebuild. I think there's going to be a very different-looking squad next year, probably some veterans back in their spots and everything like that. But maybe Bill Belichick is at the point where he's like, listen, this is where we're at, bro. We got no fucking money. We just won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, went to another one, AFC Championship. Maybe get off my ass for 1 second. Can you get off of my hooded dick just for 5 seconds? Can you please do that? That's almost feels what it's like. And if you're a Patriots fan, you got to look at that and be like, yeah, that's cool and all, but we're going to stink this year. Is that what Bill Belichick's saying?
Well, we're still going to go 11-5, make the playoffs. But if Bill, with this savage comment, I mean, it does feel like if we do finish the year, 6-10, whatever it is, he's going to go all in to be great next year because everyone's going to rule the Patriots organization completely dead, right? Because he's going to be more motivated than ever to prove to people that, hey, look, okay, yeah, I had one bad year as a COVID year, but let's see what happens next year.
The Patriots have been dead, though, for a lot of people for 6 years or whatever. I mean, the Patriots dynasty's over, since 2014 people were saying it. 2010, I think people were saying, it's over. They're not going to be able to continue to do this. So I think Bill Belichick has been hearing that it's over in his mind probably for a long time at this point. But, man, if it is over, by the way, and let's say Bill Belichick does decide to retire after this year. I'm not saying he is, but I'm nowhere near has he ever alluded to the fact that he wants to do that. This is not, everybody assumes that he would want to outlast. Now that I'm hearing his comments, by the way, he definitely wants to have better post Tom Brady era than Tom Brady has for sure. Now that I know how he's a savage, now that we get a chance to kind of hear who he is. But if he was to retire, greatest coach and GM of all time. So it's like all the conversations about he should fire himself as GM and all this. He's a bad GM, the salary cap. I agree that he has. 1 year out of 21 years, he's kind of fucked up a little bit. I mean, that is not a bad percentage, I don't think, in the history of GMs. And maybe he'll be able to get it back next year. But they got a lot of cap space. They'll be able to make a lot of moves. The team's going to look very different next year.
They do have a lot of cap space, so I don't think I understand this woe is me bullshit from Patriots fans that we're all supposed to feel bad for them now.
Danny did ask if they were dead. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's such an unfamiliar feeling, probably, though, for Patriots.
First time ever.
Marquise Lee sat out the season, so that's probably what ruined them.
Yeah, that was a hilarious throw in there. He's never played a snap for the New England Patriots, and he wasn't any good in Jacksonville. So,
you guys did have a bunch of people just start sitting down. It was like, oh, is Bill Belichick the problem? Did they hate Bill?
One after the other.
Yeah, it really was like brutal. Boom, boom, boom.
It was brutal. It was like a 2-day period.
And it came time to dump on Bill Belichick at that time. It felt like the world was like, oh, nobody wants to play for Bill. It's not as fun when Tom Brady's not doing it. And by the way, all those people were pretty accurate with how this is all playing out now. But I think Bill will be able to rebuild something awesome if he wanted to. 68, probably lived for another 50 years. Bill Belichick, I'd assume.
Yeah, he's close to the Shula head coaching wins record as well. So you got to assume he's going to stick it out till then.
Oh, yeah, for sure, right?
And that's like 3 more seasons at least.
Let's go to Zach in Florida. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, what's up, Pat? How you doing?
Hey, not too shabby, Zach. What do you want to talk about, bud?
Oh, man, I got to talk about fucking Danny Dimes and Eli Manning comparison.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so look, I'm a self-aware Giants fan. I understand. Like, I've been a lifelong Giants fan. Last night, Danny Dimes, 2 bad interceptions. And unfortunately, we all know Eli Manning, history of interceptions as well. I understand that. But I also have a good memory of Eli Manning showing up in the fourth quarter, coming up clutch. And last night, Danny Dimes did try to come up clutch in the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
Try to go for the win.
Absolutely.
He did try, yeah.
So my question is it a good or bad thing to compare Danny Dimes to Eli Manning right now?
Well, he's quarterback of the New York Giants immediately after Eli Manning. He's always going to get compared to Eli Manning. I appreciate your question and what you're trying to say. And Danny Dimes knows he's going to get compared to Eli Manning the entire time. Are you asking whether or not being compared to Eli Manning is good or bad? That's a much deeper question for Giants fans to potentially. He won 2 Super Bowls, obviously had an incredible year. What have you done for me lately? Society saw the end of his career there where I think the entire organization was kind of trash. So it's not just Eli Manning playing bad football. It was like everything was bad football over there. But for a long time, Eli was a dude. So I think being compared to Eli Manning, a man who won 2 Super Bowls for a franchise, is probably a good thing. I assume it's probably a good thing, especially with where the state of the team is. While he was talking, which I think a lot of people saw on our YouTube, a lot of faces as if we were just reading something while that guy was talking. We were. There's some breaking news. Here we go. On trade deadline day for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, Ian Rappaport tweets out that the Packers have maintained interest in Texans wide receiver Will Fuller, and he's someone Coach Matt LaFleur knows well. LaFleur was the Notre Dame quarterback coach in 2014, now head coach of the Green Bay Packers just 6 years later, while Fuller was emerging as a star. One of several reasons for the interest, says Ian Rappaport. So no breaking news other than they're potentially interested in somebody and maybe going to break news.
Well, yeah, and we just saw the report as well that there's dissension in the front office on whether or not they want to go after him.
Great call right there. Diana Rossini has tweeted out that at the highest of levels, basically, in the Green Bay Packers organization, Diana Rossini tweeted out, I'm told the Green Bay Packers have discussed trading for Texans receiver Will Fuller. However, there's been a disagreement in Green Bay at the highest levels of the organization over whether or not adding an elite receiver in the short term would be worth the spend. Okay, so at the highest of levels, Diana Rossini saying, now this is if Diana Rossini is accurate with what she's being told. Let's assume she is. She's known for being accurate and getting a lot of news stories. So this means that what? LaFleur, who Rappaport just tweeted about, has a lot of interest in. He would like a weapon for Aaron Rodgers, that offense. And LaFleur, who's around the team every single day in the locker room and everything like that, and in the offseason did numerous one-on-one Zoom calls with Aaron to go through the offense and what they like. Matt LaFleur is on board with adding a weapon. If we can piece things together that are all alleged. Gunther Kuntz, though, at the very top, says we don't need a weapon now, just like we didn't need a weapon whenever I traded up to draft Jordan Love. This money in the short term doesn't mean shit. We're looking for 5-6 years down the road, pal. Who cares about right now? That has to be disheartening as a fan of the Green Bay Packers and also an owner, by the way. Are you not at the highest level? Does your opinion not matter, Ty Schmidt?
Well, it clearly doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But what are you going to do? I thought I might be able to, like, actually speak it into existence a little bit. You know, if I was passionate enough about it, maybe we would do something. But like you said, this guy just doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care about this year's team. He didn't care about last year's team. He doesn't care about next year's team. He's looking at the team in 2026.
Which, by the way, will be a team that he put together entirely.
Exactly. So, you know.
Oh, man, that's tough.
And it's interesting when you talk about the Belichick type of stuff. Like, I mean, I was going back and forth. I really didn't know. I mean, just fucking go for broke.
No, he said short-term spend, he said. Now, is Will Fuller the right decision? Maybe not. Who knows? The guy gets hurt, I guess, on a regular basis. I don't know enough about him. This is what everybody's saying that is against the potential trade, is that he always gets hurt. But then why not another receiver?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about Will Fuller. I mean, I said it last show. Go get Julio, goddammit. Trade a first-round pick. And you know what? Then flip it around. Maybe give up next year's first-round pick for a fucking stud on defense. The window's closing, all right? Let's go fucking get a Lombardi. If they don't do anything, I swear to God, how many hours we got left? I mean, they got about, 2 hours to make a move? They're not going to.
So this is the Packers. Well, we just got a report out of the building that the current GM is literally punting. Like, short-term spend mention means, like, is it worth it for us to win right now? Where it probably that is
burning down up there.
Because if that's
by the way, Aaron Rodgers Tuesday would be in 10 minutes if he didn't have a game on Thursday. Oh my God, it would be awesome. But instead, he has a game on Thursday. We don't get the chance to talk to him. This is unbelievable.
But if that's coming out right now, like, they're not going to do anything, right? I mean, if that's coming out this close to the deadline, what is he going to change his mind in the next 8 minutes and actually do something?
So I think maybe that's coming out because the side that wants to do something with, like, a little public pressure potentially. So I think that is probably who.
Oh, the public pressure's been there, goddamn it! They know we want it.
Amen. Jeez. You know what I heard about Goods? He didn't vote today.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I bet he doesn't know it takes all of us either.
I tweeted that out last night because it was on the back of all those helmets. It takes all of us. The amount of people coming in. Don't you be telling me to fucking vote. It's like, all right. It does take all of us, okay? And Gunther Kuntz doesn't respect it, and obviously neither do you. What's going on, Dick?
Breaking news. Majority of the people expected Andy Dalton to return against Steelers. He will not because he's been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list.
Andy Dalton got knocked out. Nobody fought for him, and now he's got COVID?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Poor fucking guy.
Danucci
First his head, now his lungs. I mean, this Dalton guy's getting attacked from all angles right now, and nobody's sticking up for him. Hey, Red Rocket, know this. You got a friend in our show, pal.
Yep.
Danucci
plays his hometown team.
Let him go.
Danucci in Pittsburgh. Is it in Pittsburgh?
No, it's in Dallas.
Let Nucci spin.
Because old Nucci, by the way, when he was in high school, played in that stadium. You know what I mean? Couple state championship games down there. Old Nucci got that submarine release.
Ben Mahomes.
Bro, he's got a LinkedIn page. He's a leader, a known leader on his LinkedIn page. And I'd say, what, Nucci? Quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, I think you can go ahead and stamp that in again, pal.
I should.
Hey, sex is cool, but have you ever tried built-in underwear?
Oh.
Everyone knows Bird Dogs has shorts, the most comfortable shorts of all time, but now they make pants. They stole Lululemon's designer, and now they're just doing it better. Bird Dogs are pants, but they have the built-in underwear that are so damn comfortable. They look exactly like khakis or chinos, but feel like silky soft pajamas. You can wear them to work, you can wear them to golf, you can wear them to work out, you can wear them to sleep, you can wear them to happy hour, you can wear these pants anywhere. They're truly all situational pants that are more comfortable than any other pants you've ever worn. The fit, the material, the stretch, it's all a win-win-win. And right now, when you go to birddogs.com and enter promo code McAfee, they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks.
Whoa!
Yeah, nunchucks. You get an actual murder weapon alongside the most comfortable pair of pants or shorts that you've ever had at birddogs.com. Enter promo code McAfee. You will not take these things off. We promise you. We got 30 seconds till hour 2 ends. On the other side, we'll have AJ Hawk talking to us about life. We will not have Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, much like a lot of things in this COVID world, has been postponed because Aaron plays on Thursday, and that is quite I think it's practice or meetings or something like that. Hopefully we'll try to talk to him on Friday. Good luck, Aaron.
Good luck. He's live right now.
Trade deadline is currently happening. We'll talk about that and cover that. AJ Hawk on the other side, and more of your phone calls. This is going to be the greatest Tuesday in the history of Tuesdays. You got about 6 minutes. Go take a shit. We'll see you on the other side.
team and a fan base on a playoff push the likes the world has never seen before. Crescent City, get on your feet for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Sprite, an incredibly refreshing drink. Starting at forward was the number 2 overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. Now he's an NBA All-Star, Brandon Ingram. At forward, this man has been dunking on little white kids on the internet for 10 years. The incomparable, unstoppable 6'6" phenom, Zion Williamson. At center, standing at 8 feet tall, from Georgia Tech, number 22, Derek Favors. This man's family had a reality show in Lithuania. He was born and raised in LA, but he found his J in Vienna. Lonzo Ball. And the OG of the roster. On the court, he's a monster. Braids hanging, shots banging. It's not Drew, it's Drew Holiday. Let's get this done. Thank you very much. Go Pelicans. Basketball. Kyle Shanahan can run the ball on Mike Pettin. I mean, the last time they played, it didn't take much, but I do think the weakness of this 49er defense against the pass will show up, whether they get Sherman back or not. You know, the Packers will be able to throw the football effectively on.
It is funny that after giving up what they just did to Dalvin Cook, they faced the team that they gave up 186 yards before
maybe
a
I
punt.
don't bet on them.
That did.
I mean, it's not a slam dunk now. I mean, they didn't even. Jimmy G didn't have to play in that championship game. He could have stood next to you
6 times.
I mean, he just handed the ball off to Morset, and now they're hurting their running back too. I mean, they got the kid from Baylor in there, Hasty, who I like coming out, but he fumbled yesterday. That was the one thing I think that one thing we really missed a great opportunity to tell people about. Everybody was so preoccupied with the line movement to San Francisco up in Seattle. But that damn Seattle, they're resilient, they're tough-minded, and Russell Wilson wasn't going to lose to them. I didn't give a shit what the numbers were saying.
Seahawks are 33-15-4 against the spread. Their last 52 after a straight-up loss.
Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to this big old sports show on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Hour 3 of the Pat McAfee Show begins right now. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Joining us, a man who lives in the state of Ohio, national champion in college football, and was once talked about on this show today as the greatest college football player that Congressman Anthony Gonzalez has ever seen, both on his team or against his team. And a man who won a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers, Mr. AJ Hawk.
Yeah!
That's what he said, dude. Gonzo said that you were the best college football player he had ever seen in his life.
That's very nice of Gonzo. I actually got to see, I watched the first 3 or 4 minutes of your interview with him. I was excited you had him on. Gonzo, former teammate, genius, weirdly smart, unique guy. I think he's in the perfect position right now.
I think so too, and I feel the exact same way with being a teammate of his and hanging out with him a little bit. Whenever I saw him run for political office, I hadn't talked to him, and it's not like he texted me and said, "Hey, I'm going to run for Congress" or whatever. But as soon as I saw it happen, I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." Like it made so much sense immediately upon me seeing it. I was like, "That's the guy to go and do it." And I think he genuinely cares about the position, which is crazy to think about in 2020 politics world. I very much enjoyed talking to him, and it's a whole different world he's ventured into over there. Our sports world, a lot of stupid and fun over here. That world's so dead serious. The internet right now is wildly toxic about everything going on in the world.
Oh, it's unbelievable. In the situation that Gonzo was in every single day, I did get to see the part where you asked him, what do you do? What do you do day to day? And I thought that was a great question. That's what most of us don't really understand, what you do, what it really looks like. But for Gonzo, man, isn't it? It's fun just a little bit I got to see of you talking to him, just to hear a level-headed, rational human that is in politics. No matter what side he's on, you wouldn't. I don't know. You'd have to really dig into it to see what side he's on.
And the conversation. By the way, I don't think I fully knew until I saw all the tweets that came immediately after us posting about him. But just because the political party he is affiliated with, well, you automatically have to hate the other side regardless of whatever. But yeah, that conversation was nothing like what I thought. Now, granted, he gave us a tour of the entire Capitol or whatever. And
gorgeous.
He was in a full suit. Obviously, he looked incredible. I had jorts on and a cutoff, and he was walking us through place. I was like, Gonzo, I don't think I'm supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to be here. He's like, no, come on, let's go. And he was. It feels like that next generation, hopefully, of government will be like that. Because, boy, the world we're currently in, people fucking hate each other right now. I mean, people hate each other right now. I don't think I've ever seen people hate each other like it is currently right now. People hate each other, AJ.
They do. We hear Don Lemon's on CNN talking about how he's had to cut people out of his life. You see people on other networks saying, "Oh, well, I used to be friends with them," or "I used to speak to my brother and sister. Now we cut them off because we don't agree on who we're going to vote for." It is. I wonder if it's ever been this polarizing or this much animosity between groups.
Yeah, I wonder. I really do wonder if everybody's always hated. I don't know. I feel like everybody was bullshitting before, and now everything's we know everything. So you have to stand, because if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And if you don't take a stand, a firm stand, almost you get questioned, oh, are you even? Oh, are you really even? If you're willing to
prove it,
you drink from the same bottle of water as somebody that votes on the other side. Get the fuck out of here. That is, I feel like we're in a big prove it society. Yeah, I think social media is is that right society. Oh, if they score 10 runs here, I'll sprint on the field naked or whatever. It happens, everybody. As soon as that 10th run is running halfway to home plate, the internet's like, excuse me, what did you say? Let's go ahead and get to it. It is very much is that right society. And it feels like it's only going to grow and grow and grow. And I appreciate Gonzo coming in here and talking. Trade deadline day, AJ, it's not looking good for your Green Bay Packers, pal. Let me tell you, we don't have Aaron Rodgers Tuesday right now, which is a bummer because there are bombs coming out of Green Bay because I think all of the Green Bay Packers fans on earth are thinking the same thing that Ty is thinking. And the things that Ty has been saying on this show is like, hey, let's go win a Lombardi. We got a team that could do it. We're in the NFC Championship last year. We added no pieces in the offseason that directly affect us taking that next step. But now, hey, guess what? The NFL gave you another opportunity here with a trade opportunity with a lot of players on the trade block that could potentially help your team. And now Diana Rossini is reporting that at the highest of levels in Green Bay, there is disagreements on whether or not to bring in Will Fuller and not have any short-term spend. So you would assume now, this is all alleged, but us just piecing it together, Gunther Kuntz doesn't want to do the short-term spend, and LaFleur, who was with Fuller at Notre Dame in 2014, he's pushing for it, and now it's all coming to the public light that Gunther Kuntz doesn't want to win right now. He would rather win down the road anyways.
Okay. Now, if somebody was a true like Packers apologist, would you say, hey, if this was a normal week, if we didn't have the short week and playing on Thursday, they would have made a lot of moves happen. But hey, we can't do it. Maybe next year it'll work out better for us at the trade deadline.
What the hell is this? Ice cubes just go out my mouth. By the way, this thing to save the turtles, they got this little like sipper thing.
Oh yeah,
it's a perfect size until the ice melts at all.
Yeah,
and then it just comes and gets stuck in there. And Diggs, you said you love. I love this thing.
Yes,
but we got to figure out how to keep the fucking ice out of there. Okay, we got to figure it out.
Maybe mesh.
It is problematic. Maybe like a little fishing net there because we're trying to keep the.
Well, we need to put a cooler in
new one of those, right?
What's that, Bob?
Every day you get new green tea brought to you, right?
No. Same one. Same cup, dude, every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we make it here.
You already mentioned it earlier. You already outed yourself. You said if you were sharing drinking water out of a bottle from someone on the other side, well, first off, there's your mistake already. You're using single-use plastic. You can't do that. It's all made from glass.
I mean, you just tied in a lot of things there. Okay.
The same one since we started the show, like March 16th.
Hey, listen. I don't know if you can see from that high horse you're on. You see my right fucking pec, pal? Huh? I voted. Okay? You can't say a damn thing to me, dude. You can't say anything to me about anything, pal. Okay?
You're right. Hey, it takes all of us.
Yeah, zoom in on that, Fox.
How about that?
Wow. See that? Hashtag Indy votes, dude.
Did you vote, AJ?
I think the pinky ring cancels it out.
No. People know that if you got a pinky ring and you vote, dude, that's big news. You know what I mean? That's big news. You know who didn't vote? Tone Diggs.
Guy
didn't vote today.
Gumpy didn't vote either.
Not allowed to.
Oh, yeah, he's Canadian.
Tony didn't vote.
Diggs is a fucking bully, dude. He just shamed.
Wow.
Did you just?
What's wrong with you?
Did you just citizen shame?
What, you didn't write it?
Citizen shame, Gumpy.
God.
How dare you?
That's disgusting.
What's that all about, Gump?
I mean, I've had enough, Tony.
No.
You're trying to let everybody know I'm here now. Tell the world, Tony. Let them know.
Yeah.
We were talking about the ice in your cup earlier, so.
Oh, shit. He's talking about the group of people that round up.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to that. I voted, AJ, okay? So I'm allowed to say whatever I want about whatever sea turtles, okay? And sea turtles, we should save them. They're very cute. Love them. I mean, they don't let you really get close, and it's not really a great photo op, but they are incredibly gorgeous whenever they get out there and stop, floating around. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have tags in them, too, so they can track them.
Yeah.
The migration patterns on those guys are
crazy.
Astounding.
I was on a cruise one time, and like a boating tour, a charter tour or whatever, and the guy driving the boat just hopped off the side of the boat on top of a sea turtle, grabbed that thing, brought it into the boat. Jeez. Probably illegal, but it was awesome.
Was it with Steve Irwin?
It was awesome. It was one of the coolest. He literally was just driving a boat, and then he hopped up on the thing right in front of him. It was kind of alarming, right? Because we're on the boat now without somebody driving it. Should I hop up there? And he just hopped over there. The boat kind of like faded out, and he just swam with the sea turtle right into the thing. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Sam loved it, but stop using straws in certain places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Save the turtles.
Save the turtles. I forget what I was going to talk about, but the Packers should fucking win. Go and try to win. They didn't.
Well, and I don't know, AJ, you obviously know more about defensive football and whatnot than I do, but they're not going to do both. They're definitely not going to do both. They're probably not going to do anything, but I feel like their offense, if they add another piece, it could be Now, granted, the Chiefs' defense last year I don't think is as bad as theirs is, but like the Chiefs weren't like, their defense wasn't amazing until they got in the playoffs, and it kind of they stepped up then. But it was like there was a threat that they were going to score on every single possession, and I don't think adding one guy on defense, if you have to do one or the other, is going to get them over the hump.
No, I think you're 100% right. If you're going to add somebody, you need to add somebody on offense. That's what could give you a spark right away. If you're going to add somebody on D, like where do you add somebody? Like where would you pick, Ty? You're a diehard fan. There's not one glaring weakness where like one person could fill that void.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. If Julio Jones was on the Packers, jeez. Allegedly, he's available. By the way, allegedly. He is available. Stephon Gilmore of the New England Patriots, we found out he is available. Diana Rossini reported that a team she was talking to that was potentially interested in Stephon Gilmore said that what the Patriots are asking for Stephon Gilmore, less than 1 year removed from Defensive Player of the Year, is they want a first-round pick and a player in exchange for Stephon Gilmore, and nobody has stepped up to the plate for that move. Will that change within? Is it 4? When is it?
4 o'clock.
So in the next hour and 47 minutes, as of this second right now, will they change anything? Will they go get Stephon Gilmore? Will Julio Jones get traded? Will A.J. Green get traded? Will Will Fuller get traded? Will any of these names that we have been hearing about for the last few days get moved? Or is this once again the NFL? A lot of talk, not a lot of action around trade time.
Yeah, will someone come after Ryan Fitzpatrick? Like, is that a possibility?
Will the Miami Dolphins move Ryan Fitzpatrick?
They will not. But if they get everything is for sale. You know that at the right price. So if someone really wanted to dump a bunch of players or a couple picks for Fitzpatrick, yeah, I would think they would have to let him go.
We have updates from what's that? We have Mansert. Your mics. Yeah.
A couple of executives and coaches, I guess, around the league. Our guy Dov Kleiman reported reacting to Belichick's comments on the salary cap.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear what. After speaking with a few GMs, former head coach. I saw that and I thought, why is it out there? Bill never would put anything like that out there, and all of a sudden it's out there. Something is weird. The executive said about Bill Belichick talking the way he talked yesterday. I've always wondered if they just decided to tank this year, especially once they had all the opt-outs. A veteran coach, who could that be? Who knows? Andy Reid, maybe? Yeah. Bill is saving up for next year and blowing smoke and hoping people believe him. Crying poor, whatever. There's nothing to it. He knows it. They got stuck when Brady called their bluff and left. They didn't improve the team, and Brady said he's out, going to get some sunshine, bring his boy Gronk out to Tampa, have some drinks with the head coach, and have some fun and call it a career. Right. Wow, okay.
That's Rex Ryan.
Another executive goes, it seemed very un-Belichickian to say what he said. You're the coach and the GM. You have made all these decisions unless there is a veiled message which could make you think about what they've spent. It's not a cap issue. They have been tight against the cap and moving money around, but lots of people have had the ability to do that and go through it. Wow, so not a lot of people. Another executive says, Belichick has really run it tight economically, whether it's been players or staff or coaches, and I think that has probably finally caught up to them. The cap is an excuse. The cap to me is hiding really that they haven't spent cash, and it's not just players. I wonder some degree whether they've had a little bit of a brain drain. Everybody focuses on the coaches who have left not being successful, but Titans GM John Robinson, Bucks GM Jason Light, and all these other guys have also left. Another executive says, tell me the last Pro Bowl player they drafted in what year?
Ooh. Oh,
wow. Okay, so the NFL, talking about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick yesterday said after the F of OMF, Christian Fulgor, F-A-L-G.
Faria.
Yeah.
There it is, Faria. Ugh, I was spelling the wrong name. Anyways, he asked him a question that kind of said, like, it sounds like you're making excuses, Bill. And Bill got agitated and gave a response like, it's not excuses. I mean, look, we paid Cam Newton $1 million. It's obvious that we didn't have any money. It's nobody's fault. That's what we did the last 5 years. We sold out. We won 3 Super Bowls, played in the 4th, and played in an AFC Championship game. So basically, Bill Belichick flexed on everybody. And now you're hearing executives and coaches allegedly from around the league going like, oh, shut the fuck up, Bill. That's basically what they're saying. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah, does he mention the opt-outs? I feel like the opt-outs are one of the biggest reasons why they're struggling too. Like, not only do you have cap issues and Tom Brady is gone and all of that, but you had a lot of stud players opt out right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, a lot of studs, by the way. And they have the most cap space in the league, I think, next year. So I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, Bill, okay. 1 year. What's that?
Why do you think he is... What made him all of a sudden step out of his box and decide to like get angry enough to actually let people know.
I think that was the first time in a long time where he's potentially had a verbal confrontation with somebody and he wanted to alpha the guy. I think that's what happened. I think that question
Boria played for him.
Yeah, and I love it. Like, I love that he had the opportunity to get him, because I think that question, by the way, can we run that question? Get right to the part where he asked the question and says the excuses thing. This question, as soon as the way he phrased it and how he asked it, I don't think I've ever seen Bill Belichick face a question like that. I don't think ever. No. He'll get questions about what they need to get better at, and he'll go first down, second down, third down, fourth down. But never has somebody actually gave hey, Belichick, it sounds like you're up to some bullshit right now. Go ahead and play that, Foxy. What's that? Oh, geez, just play the fucking video.
I mean, what it sounds like is like a lot of excuses, like COVID excuses, things that you haven't ever said before.
No, it's not. I didn't say it was an excuse. I never said that.
No, I didn't say you did.
Well, kind of, though. So, that is, I think, such a good question to kind of get him going. Maybe that's what people got to do, is just kind of talk shit to him a little bit. So then he comes over the top with excuse me, the last 20 years we're the best fucking team of all time. I'm happy that he's realizing that and speaking it into existence like that.
I'm hoping this is the new Belichick.
Me too.
We saw Tom Brady go on Howard Stern and be so open, and he's relatable now. Is that what Bill Belichick is going to be in the twilight of his career?
Hey, good work getting to that part, by the way. Back there being serious. That had to be pretty difficult, not being able to listen to it and just kind of send it around. I do that on my videos on my phone when I'm editing it, and I can't get to anything. Connor, what's up?
Well, and Belichick did all those Subway commercials and stuff. There's been a lot of differences in Bill Belichick this year than there have been in previous years.
He's more open. I hope he continues to do it. What were you going to say, AJ?
I have a question. What if we all say that, Tommy Foxborough, they're holding him down. What if big Tom Brady was holding Bill Belichick back, and Bill wanted to let this personality out? And Tom's like, hey, Bill, come on now. That's not the Patriot way.
I thought about this last night while watching the game a little bit, and how Tom was pissed off, obviously. Still, he was smashing his helmet or whatever. At 43 after winning 6 Super Bowls or whatever he is. I mean, it was awesome to see that uber competitive drive. But what if it was Tom that was so hey, this is how it needs to be.
The Brady way.
This is how we need. What if the Patriot way was the Brady way, which, by the way, could mean that this is great news for the Buccaneers, because guess what? It worked for a long time. But what if Tom was the one? What if Tom and Bill were trying to out-compete and out-serious each other and finally getting away from each other? It's okay, thank God, Jesus Christ, we can actually be humans again. That is very interesting to think. What if Tom was the driver behind the whole Patriot way of being dialed in every single moment of your life? This is what we do, football, nothing else.
Yeah, I like how you said out serious each other. That's true. Okay, no, I can take I can take football more serious than this guy. I can give worse answers to the media more consistently than this guy too.
What time's that guy get in the building? 5:15. I'm here at 5 a.m. 4:45, 4:30, 4:15, 4. Can we get 3:45? That is what it is, and you hear that sometimes in players-only meetings. By the way, a lot of guys will out serious each other, out how hard they work, out how hard obviously their neighborhood they came from. That is kind of what those player-led meetings are normally like. If they're, I guess there's some that are good, right? We've had conversations about some of them that can end up being good, but a lot of those things, it's normally who cares about this football team and has come longer than the other person? It's and I once wanted to say, that's always, and that's when it comes into it. It's always all right, here we go. Let's go ahead and rock it in for the show. Hopefully we won't suck next week, and hopefully this means something. What's up, Zito?
Will Fuller has not tweeted since September 12th. He just tweeted out waiting around GIF. So they have not done anything yet with him yet.
It feels like players, by the way, are trolling this shit. The Steelers, there was a guy that tweeted out peace sign on his IG story.
Oh, Cam Sutton.
Cam Sutton, and then everybody, all the local media was like, Cam Sutton potentially on the move? Question mark. He was trending, I think, in Pittsburgh immediately, and then he was immediately after I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, he was not.
That is awesome. Oh, Will Fuller here. Oh, my God.
Yeah, over 800 retweets already.
So do they know?
It's moving.
Is it pretty much are people... I'm not saying he's going to Green Bay, but is Will Fuller on the move no matter what?
I don't know. Who knows what they're asking for? I think the biggest thing, we learned Stephon Gilmore is worth a one and another player. That's what we learned from.
What's that other player, though? The one is a huge gift, but I'm sure it depends on what's that other player. Is it a starter? Is it a special team? What are you going to give up?
When was the last time we just saw a swap of humans, by the way? Hey, our team wants that guy. we want this guy out here. You just want to take that would be pretty interesting to see.
I mean, Kiko Alonso and Quan Alexander, but there's a
plus
pick
a pick.
involved.
Yeah. I'm just talking straight human for human. And then at what point while you're flying to your new city do you have the thought they think that guy's just as good as me, or on the other side they think I'm as good as that guy? That's that's an interesting thing whenever you start comparing that type of stuff. And knowing Stephon Gilmore, knowing that he's worth a one and another player has to feel pretty good if you're Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. Because some of those guys get traded for like a 4th round, 5th round pick, and I'm like, they got to be so pissed to make people think they're only worth a 5th round pick or whatever. You know.
Well, and for Gilmore, like if he doesn't get traded or whatever, what's it like for the rest of the season? Is he just kind of like, oh well, these guys don't even want me anyways, or like how does that work?
Well, yeah, who knows? I think you understand that the business.
You're all for everybody. Like I said before, everybody's for sale, like for the right price. So you can't take it personally. If they were entertaining, like teams will tell you, like, hey, yeah, our ears are open. We'll listen to anything that anyone's going to throw at us. So I think as a player, you should be able to get over that pretty quick.
You know, I think we thought coming into this show that, boy, there'd be more things to talk about during our show time period because it's trade deadline day and we got 3 hours leading up to it. There hasn't been jack shit except for maybe some drama at the top of the Green Bay Packers organization about who wants to get better, LaFleur, and who doesn't, Gutekunst. That's really all we have to talk about. I thought today was potentially going to be breaking news out of blah, blah, blah.
Especially after yesterday when those guys got, those two moves got made like back to back, and Schefter was like, oh boy, it's going to be a busy 2 days.
And what is this us being just like new into the daily? I really thought today was going to be like hey, let's go. Yeah. A lot of action. Hey, we got this going on. Are we pissed? Are we not? Is this team better or worse? Like, I was excited for that today. It's just been a big dud. Bitch. Are they all voting? Everybody's voting.
Probably.
Oh, rock the vote.
Everybody's voting.
Facilities closed. I saw Jane Slater tweet something about, all facilities are closed today so players can vote, and they're some of them are, hosting voting stations. I was saying, what about if you're playing the Thursday night game? I don't think Lambeau's closed. I think those guys are in there.
They don't get to vote.
It's a shame.
Sorry.
Voter suppression. Thursday Night Football, NFL. People forget.
Can we ponder over the break, though, the breaking news that we did have today that Andy Dalton has COVID, that last week AJ did send Andy Dalton one of those ice helmets and potentially gave Andy Dalton COVID.
Oh, my God. Shit. Say nothing, AJ. We'll talk about that on the other side. What a scumbag you are, trying to take out a guy that just got his head taken off. We'll also take your phone calls and clean up this Tuesday NFL free agent trade deadline day. It hasn't really been that active. Your phone calls, more conversation. And did AJ kill the Red Rocket? This is the Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Minnesota has shown up. Row the boat, Sky U-Mall, go Gophers. Let's get the axe and keep that thing in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The place is about to lose their minds. Ladies and gentlemen, watch a man maestro a crowd like Coach Lee Corso.
He'll say to me, works every time. What?
Every time. You just can't dog pee on a field. This obviously led to a nightmare situation for Luke Logan, who misses the extra point. An absolute pandemonium happened. But in Dwayne Haskins' defense, the Redskins and Dwayne Haskins might never win a game again. That guy's flexing like DJ Fleck a little bit. Good sells a little bit away. He got me the throw. Throw the flag. Sell your soul. Who hates Iowa? A lot of hate here in Minnesota, Maria. Hey, you look good, pal. For me, right after we leave this octagon, I'm going to Lake Minnetonka. I'm pulling a swordfish
push out of there. Then I'm going to stop by Paisley Park. I'm going to pay my respects to Prince in the Purple Rain. Then I'm going to walk into TCF Bank Stadium, and I'm going to say, I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC-regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back. 2:29 here on the Eastern Standard Time after the clock thing for daylight savings time this weekend, which has made me an early bird here the last couple of days. Feels pretty good. Waking up all early and stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm passing out, earlier than normal. Is the daylight savings time maybe saving my life at this point?
Could be.
I'm waking up early. I've been working out in the morning. It's like I'm AJ Hawk. It feels pretty damn good. Had a cauliflower pizza last night, AJ. Unbelievable.
Doubt it. That is very doubtful.
Have you ever had one?
I'm sure I've tried it. Yeah, it's terrible.
No, it's very, very good, actually. While eating it, I had to ask the question numerous times to my wife if they fucked up the order and just gave me regular pizza. That's how good this cauliflower pizza was. And it was also the habit of eating a pizza, too, where you fold it and you have the whole thing. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, I probably knocked on it numerous times in my life, if I had to guess, and shouldn't have been doing that. Should not have been. It was unbelievable. Now, it came out quick this morning. I think I saw the entire pizza come out, but it was unbelievable, AJ.
Hey, how long does that last to where your body is still adapting to the time change with the extra hour? Like, doesn't that usually wear off after a day or two?
I'm not sure. I'll probably power through it, I assume, with the snooze button. I think I could probably do it if I really had to. When I went to Japan on a USO tour, we went over there, had a great time. We were there for like 6 days, I think, or 7 days. It took me like 3 weeks on the other side. I was waking up at 3 a.m., just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Like, here we go. And there's only so many things. I don't know what The Rock and Mark Wahlberg and them do in the morning. There's only so much you can do before the goddamn sun comes out, and you're like, all right, I'm bored. That took me like 3 weeks because I wasn't mentally tough enough to get through it. They say Ambien is the way to go about it if you have a massive time zone change or whatever. But for me, with the 1 hour change, that's literally just 5 snoozes, and you're on the other side of it. You just powered right through it. Good, congratulations on beating it. But I don't mind it right now. I'm waking up earlier than I've woken up in a long, long time. It's like I'm back in the NFL right now.
That's good. I bet you feel good. What do you do when you wake up?
Well, first of all, take a shit.
Gotcha. Okay. Always, that's your first thing?
Yeah. I'm like my dog Valerie. If she gets up, she has to pee. Okay, that's the way it goes. For me now, if I get up, gotta poop. That's just the way it goes. And that's just, I've learned that and understood that. I'll go do a little workout now. I feel like I'm you a little bit. Now, we're only 2 days into this thing, I think, right? At this point now. We're literally only 2 days into it. Did a little workout. I wrote in a journal. You know what I mean? I got around to golfing.
Nice.
I had some prayer time, some family time. Bible study. And then it turned 7 a.m. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? And I took a nap, to be honest, while I passed out. And then I woke back up around 9 and come into work. That's what I've been doing the last 2 days. Me and Mark Wahlberg.
That sounds like a hell of a schedule, man. I would keep that if I could.
Do you remember when he just bold-faced fucking lied to everybody and said what his daily schedule was? Do you remember that?
Who said he lied? I believe it.
He played 9 holes of golf every morning from 4:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. Any human that's ever you can't even get on a Roadster and get through. You can't get in a Tesla, which is the fastest golf cart of all time, and get through 9 holes in like 30 minutes or whatever he said.
No, and it's also dark out at that time, you know?
Well, it was coming after his prayer time before his family time or something like that. By the way, if Mark Wahlberg's doing that, that's real. I need to learn how. What golf course? Are we putt-putting? Maybe he does putt-putt.
Okay.
That's probably what it is. What do you do in the morning? You wake up, you Bible study, you work out, you family time. What is your morning routine? And what time do you get up at?
I get up about 5 and just go down to my basement and work out and watch clips of things that I may have missed while I'm working out. And then obviously I have 4 little kids, so they come running about 7 o'clock. They're ready to roll, and then it's chaos for an hour and a half or so getting them ready, and then bam, we're rolling.
So have you been waking up at 4 a.m. like I've been doing because it's an hour off? Is that what your body's been doing?
No, I've taken pride in my whole life in my body. Just whatever time zone I go to, I automatically adjust instantly.
That's amazing.
So the time change, like the 1 hour, that's nothing, man.
What are you talking about?
Have you ever been to have you ever been a part of like a real time zone change or no?
I mean, I've been to Europe. I haven't been to Japan or anything like you, but yeah.
I mean, you don't need to take a shot at me like that. I wasn't coming after you. I was just wondering if you were mentally powerful enough to battle through a 16-hour time zone change. That would have been unbelievable because your day is literally completely backwards. I would have been very impressed by that.
That one would be tough. I feel like that'd be a great test for me. Maybe when the COVID restrictions are lifted, I can go test my theory out.
Send you to Australia, too. I think they're like 20 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I forget exactly. The time zone thing's very interesting. Very, very interesting to me. You know, the Happy New Year here, but not really here. It's like, well, then are we really?
Or the 2K. Well, you're old enough, Pat. Remember when the year 2000 was coming and there was all these companies, like the world's going to end right when the ball drops? I'm like, okay. My first question even back then when I was that young, I'm saying, okay, well, what time zone does the world end? I need to know. Like, is it before the East time? Like, what happens? How do we work this out?
Is Australia and Japan going to die first, or is their world ending first, and then we just kind of got to hang on and watch from the other side? How is it all going to work out? Let's go to Jason in Arizona. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, Pat. How you guys doing?
Not too bad, man. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, I just got a question, man. With the Cowboys, they are terrible, and shout out to the brand because Greg Gallego has kept them from being 0-7 this year.
Yeah, shout out to
But would you see something like maybe Jerry Jones sending one of their receivers over to New England for Gilly Lock since they're so deep at receiver?
Oh, it's very interesting. I wonder if Big Mike McCarthy would bring in and Jerry would want to bring in like a Gilly Lock. It feels like they're sellers at the moment. I'm not sure they're buyers at the time, but who knows what the hell's going to happen with the Cowboys. A.J. Hawk thought they were going to play in the Super Bowl this year. That team stinks, AJ. That team.
Too many injuries, man.
Injuries are not an excuse. Mark Schler said it. Injuries are not an excuse. They happen everywhere. Now the Red Rocket's out with COVID. He got beheaded in the game. Nobody stuck up for him. Now he's got COVID. The Red Rocket has had a rough go of things, but don't worry, they got Big Danucci out there playing for the Cowboys this weekend, and maybe with 1 week under his belt, he'll be even better against maybe the greatest defense the NFL has seen in the last 10 years or so.
Well, if you're a coach or a GM, I get it. Everyone deals with injuries. The only injury that is an excuse is if it's your franchise quarterback that controls the team. And Dak goes down, and then the Red Rocket comes in. You feel like you're going to have some hope. Now he goes down with a concussion. Now COVID. We don't know when he's coming back. Danucci trying to make plays. Yeah, it's just tough. You know, I still stand by my pick, but it's just tough.
No way you stand by. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're like the Big Ten. You're like the Big Ten.
Back off.
No, you're the Big Ten.
I was forced on the spot to make a decision, make a pick of who would win the Super Bowl. And I didn't want to go with the company line and say, oh, it's going to be Chiefs-Bucks, Chiefs-Packers, and do that. Well, so I picked the Cowboys.
Well, I did that. The Chiefs.
Dak Prescott got hurt. That's what happens. You saw me and Bill. It's not an excuse. It's just the facts. It's what we do.
Bill Belichick's so awesome, man. I hope he just dunks on people every day. I hope he makes a Twitter account just to come in and just What if we get the BB instead of TB12, we get the BB. You know what I mean? Like he creates his own life brand and like a heel thing. He has merch that comes out, like sweatshirts that are like that. What if Bill Belichick just becomes this awesome character of life? He's already got Subway commercials where they're saying he should win potentially an Oscar or something like that for how he's acting.
He's got the Emmy already too from with Rich Eisen.
Yeah, let's go to Damien in New York. What's going on, Damien?
How we doing today, boys?
Not too shabby, Damien. Really thought more things would be happening. The trade deadline ain't shit happening, but I'm talking to a man named Damien, which doesn't always happen. What do you want to talk about?
Big D.
So I said, what's up, boys, because I don't want to be like that dum-dum from Montana who decided to separate you guys into groups.
Yeah, he's from Sacramento.
You guys are a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when one person does something good, you all do something good.
Bingo.
Unless you're the guy that's puffing on cowboy killers. But
That's true. Yeah, that's you.
my question to you guys is this.
That sucks.
With Green Bay losing their last game and Tampa Bay barely squeaking one out last night, even though Williams and Rojo decided not to really show up, do we still feel like it was an anomaly that Tampa beat Green Bay?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
It's a great question.
I don't know. I think what he was trying to say, because I think the question there is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense what they were against Green Bay? I think that is a good question. Last night, did they figure out how to beat the Buccaneers defense, which is get the ball out quick? Now, granted, Danny Dimes made a lot of bad decisions, and they were still in that game. So I don't know if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just had a bad night last night, which, by the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a team have not played well in prime time this year. Their stats are not great. The Bears, the Bucks, and the Bears, the Saints, and the Giants, the Bucks have not played great. It's all been primetime games. They're going to have to turn that around if they want to make the long haul because primetime is what the playoffs are and Super Bowl is. But for me, I think the Buccaneers defense did not play great last night. Did not expect that, though. I thought they were going to go in there and absolutely kill that offensive line that was decimated with injuries last night. They didn't seem to do that well last night, AJ.
No, they didn't, and they got pushed around at times by an offensive line that had a bunch of replacement guys in there. So, hey, credit to the guys that came in for the Giants. But, I mean, things happen, man. Like, we've heard Aaron say that on here after they lost their first game. Like, yeah, you want to win them all. You plan on winning all of them. But, hey, those guys are getting paid, too. They have contracts, and sometimes they make plays.
I would want to hear what Bruce Arians said to the team after the game. Like, I would like to hear what he said after that game.
I told you all week you guys didn't listen to me when I was beating you into the ground, killing you in practice.
I told you they were going to beat your fucking asses on Monday Night Football, didn't I? I told you that, and that's what happened. Now, we got to win. Luckily, everybody get your shit and get the fuck out of here. I don't want to even talk about it. I bet you he was not happy. The way he looked last night.
Him having his headset like strapped to his chest. Like.
Well, just the thought that I don't want to go to my hip to switch to who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. I want that thing to be right here as if I'm playing like the it was like that thing, the accordion thing, yeah, where you have to do that. And then the glasses, obviously, that hold the face shield, and then his prescription glasses that, are just far enough away to really be obvious that it is. His face is obviously an incredible one, and he's pissed all the time. I mean, the way he looked last night, and every once in a while he'll move his mask up, which is just like a tiny little mask. He's electric, dude. He is absolutely electric and gives less fucks than maybe Bill Belichick on how he looks on a daily basis. He used to be Kangol, super cool looking guy. Now it's just like, I do not care. This is what it is. Let's hope we win a Super Bowl this year so I can retire.
Hey, what are players like around him? If you watch, if I'm watching last night and I see him as the head coach, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do my best to stay away from this dude, especially on game day. Like, are guys walking on eggshells? Like, how does he do it? Because he is a guy that players love, but he is so outspoken and out there, not scared to get after guys.
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not 100%. I had a great year, the year that he was our coach. I would assume that he has said some things to either kickers and punters and other people because he's competitive, so he probably shit talks, but his motivational tactics are potentially shit talking motivational tactics, which, by the way, work very well. I mean, I'm not saying that's a different style than some people have, but players love him because of how competitive he is. It feels like he wants to win just as much as you do. Like it feels like he wants to beat their team just like you. He wants to out-coach them. He wants to out-scheme them. He wants to win because he wants to celebrate and he wants to keep it moving. So I think that is, but I was never really on the receiving end. I've heard him undress people for making mistakes in a hilarious fashion, but if you're on the receiving end, probably not great. But yeah, I've heard some things because he's a good shit talker too. So when he's saying like if a quarterback, for instance, we had like a 4-string quarterback in training camp, and they were throwing a fade drill, and it was a red line drill. You got to keep it out by the red line, which is like, I don't know, 3 yards from the sideline or whatever it is. It's an entire tactic they uses in coaching. And he like overthrew it or whatever, and he goes, "Hey motherfucker, I told you to throw it outside the red line, but not outside the goddamn field." And then he turns and looks at him, and then he'll go through some story. He'll recall one from like, I remember back in Alabama, we had a guy named blah 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 blah. He threw it like that. You know what? Didn't even get to play football ever again because how bad he sucked. And then like he'll just walk away, and it's like, oh my. Loser. That is what you want. He's a very, because he's competitive. He's a shit talker. He's a motivator. I don't know what it's like this year because who knows how the environment is on that team. But yeah, I would assume he talks a lot of shit. We have some breaking news here on trade deadline day in the NFL, Tuesday, November 3rd. Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Cowboys are seriously contemplating turning to QB Cooper Rush as their starter this week, which would require he get activated from the practice squad, source said. With Andy Dalton down with COVID, it may not be Ben DiNucci again. Are you kidding me?
Come on.
DiNucci's playing against his hometown team, which is also Mike McCarthy's team. Does Mike McCarthy's hometown team? Does Mike McCarthy not know that DiNucci is going to get loose potentially against this Steelers defense? And now he's going with Cooper Rush. The Cowboys carousel continues. Wow, that's good alliteration.
Yeah, I would say, doesn't it feel like the Cowboys would be sellers here in this trade market if they do make anything happen in the next hour? Like, I don't think they don't seem to be in the spot to be going after guys like Gilmore.
Nah, it seems like they're trying to get out of the business of having players on their team that account for a lot of money because they're going to rebuild that thing. It feels like the Cowboys are going to do a little bit of a rebuild. It does feel like that. But Cooper Rush, guy's a ball player. Who knows? Let's go to Joe in Indianapolis. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, how you boys doing today?
Hey, don't you share. Who knows all that?
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Are we seeing the second coming of the late RIP Jerry Krause and Gunther Kuntz and wasting Aaron Rodgers' last great years?
Great question, Joe. The interesting thing about old Jerry Krause that wasn't talked about was he built the team, too. So, like, Jerry Krause built that team around Jordan, had to make a lot of decisions, by the way, to get rid of a lot of people. That wasn't exactly a crowd pleaser when he decided to build the team around Jordan. So he recognized that Jordan was special, decided to build around him, and they obviously go on an incredible run that is still talked about this day, being the GOAT and his teammates and blah, 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 blah. Then, at some point, Jerry Krause said, I want to tear this thing down and rebuild. And a lot of people, if you watch The Last Dance, would say that it was obviously too early and the guy was being an asshole and he was being ungrateful to the people that got him in the position that he's in, being Jordan and Pippen and the boys and everything like that. But then you heard a lot of people that talked outside of The Last Dance are like, Jerry Krause is one of the best executives in history. He built that team. He was looking on to move them forward. You call Bill Belichick a savage for doing this type of stuff. You go after Jerry Krause for not being. So it's all in how you talk about it. Obviously, I am on the player's side, so Jerry Krause should have let them continue to do their run until the wheels fell off. He had a different view of that thing. With Gunther Kuntz, this is the classic ego GM thing that happens in the NFL. You get in there, you realize that the players that they currently have on the roster, any success that happens with those players, you will not get the credit for building that team. It happens literally everywhere a new GM is hired. It is actually said by GMs to former players, there is no loyalty between us because I did not draft you. And that's because they want their name to be attached with a team that they built in a certain fashion. It's just the way it is. Humans have egos. GMs are in a position of power. Let's assume they also have egos. It feels like the Gunther Kuntz situation is potentially one where Aaron Rodgers is with the previous regime. He wants to move forward so that his legacy can be one that built up a great team. Anything that happens with Aaron Rodgers is going to be linked to the previous regime that brought him in there. Is it right? No. Is it a way of going about things? Yes. Does it happen on a much more regular basis? And now that it's happening to Aaron Rodgers, is getting put in a spotlight? Yes. And will this work out for the Packers? TBD, probably not.
Yeah, and we don't know like how many years down the road until you can make have a legit opinion if the Jordan Love situation was like if it was beneficial, if you should have done it. Like if Aaron's gone, let's say Aaron plays another 2 seasons in Green Bay, 2 seasons after this one, and then you got to move to Jordan Love. I don't know. I just think it puts him in a weird spot. But going back to Belichick and Jerry Krause, the difference though, Belichick has the respect of the players and everybody else. Jerry Krause did not have any respect of the players. You saw in that documentary, they tortured Jerry Krause every time they saw him.
Yeah, but also Jerry Krause was dancing with him too. You know what I mean? So I mean,
they were laughing at him.
Oh
no,
AJ. You weren't on that plane. You weren't on that plane.
You're right. I wasn't. I just saw the the footage of it when they were all sarcastically clapping and chanting for him to dance.
They're hyping him up.
Yeah, it's an interesting
They were
relationship.
doing what you did every single day in the locker room.
Me?
What do you mean?
Fake enthusiasm, act like, yeah, that's what they were doing.
No. I would have loved to have been around old Jerry Krause when he was trying to burn it all down. Hey, Jerry, we're just going to burn the whole place down, huh? Here we go. All right. Hey, fuck everybody. I'm on your side, dude. You got to do what you got to do. Let's go to Jack in South Dakota. What's going on? Hey, Jack, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Oh, man, I'm a Coyotes guy, man.
Oh, he's a Coyote.
All right.
Coyotes. By the way, every single, I just want to let you know, Jack, just want to let you know, no offense to you, just talk about Coyotes real quick. Every single state in America, Coyotes to be killed are always in season for a reason, by the way. Not jackrabbits, pal. Doesn't happen with jackrabbits, only happens with stupid coyotes. Something to think about.
Yeah, we haven't been good enough to be in the discussion anyway, but the question that I have is, I'm watching the Arizona Cardinals for a long time, and it seems like Larry Fitzgerald doesn't get talked about as much as, and that's how good as he really is. So my question was, have you guys played with anybody that didn't get the superstardom recognition that you guys have, you in Indianapolis and AJ in Green Bay?
I would say Reggie Wayne doesn't get talked about enough for how good he was. He was unbelievable. Same position. Wide receiver is a tough position because there's so many great ones, but it's not an easy thing to be great at. And your offense literally needs a great one. What were you going to say,
Did
Dish?
you play with Marvin? Because every time they put up that graphic of Brady and Gronk touchdowns together, Marvin and Peyton, I didn't realize how many touchdowns they had together.
Yeah, Marvin left, I think, the year before I got there. But I've had conversations with Marvin in the equipment room because he was friends with the equipment staff, which tells you a lot about the guy, by the way, if you're friends with the equipment staff. I think that's a massive compliment. I didn't get to play. But Reggie Wayne is a guy that doesn't get enough credit, I don't think.
He doesn't. I mean, there's a ton of guys I think that kind of fly under the radar, but a safety, Nick Collins, dude could absolutely fly on the back end, was an absolute stud, but he ended up having a neck injury and couldn't play anymore. But his career was cut short, but he was one of the best guys I've ever played with.
Did he get hurt because you tried to tackle him in the middle of practice? Like Gonzo said, you tried to fucking kill future president Anthony Gonzalez in Ohio State practice?
He said I tried to kill him in practice?
Yeah. He
drove him into the ground.
Through the ground. You were the old no tackle to the ground, tackle through the ground, even in practice guy. He said that when his first time getting tackled by you, he felt like you were trying to put him through the turf that was on the ground. And this was a teammate of yours.
Well, that was back in the day when you could hit in practice, I guess.
Of course. So you take advantage of it, of course. Yeah.
He was trying to kill me. He was trying to run me over. I was protecting myself.
I bet you he was running down the side, didn't even see you coming, and you just scooped him up because you ran a 4.3 or whatever. He didn't even know a guy this big with this jaw could do this. You pick him up. You actually paraded around with him on his shoulder like fireman, and then you went through the ground in the middle of practice, and everybody's like, we're all Buckeyes here. And AJ's like, I don't care. Anybody can get it on this practice. That's what Gonzo said you did.
AJ, we didn't even have pads on. Why are you tackling Gonzo like
what's
that?
that all about?
Were you so fast back in the day because you had such heavy pads on at all times?
You had a good forward lean?
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely. That does sound like something I would say, Pat. Hey, anybody can get out here. That was something I used to always chirp at guys.
You ran like a 4.40? I didn't know that.
I don't know. Who knows anything? Yes, everyone has different time. Every guy on the watch thinks they're the genius, so they all have different time.
Yeah, but you were the 5th overall pick at middle linebacker. You had to be very fast and test well at the combine. What did you run at the combine? Do you know?
I think my combine time was like low 4.5 and then
4.59
my pro day.
What was your pro day?
4.4 something.
And you were how much? 200 and what?
248, I think I came out at.
Good God.
Do you think because you were running that fast and you were 250 pounds, your knees just said, fuck, we can't do this anymore? I think about that.
My right knee said that when I was 17 years old. It said, see ya, bud. Stop playing sports.
Yeah. My knee, I think, said that a lot, you know? And it was like,
I played.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say, I played soccer my whole life, and I've always kicked the ball really hard. And then we did the punter thing where I kicked the ball really hard. And I think it got to the point where my knee was like, yeah, we're not fucking doing this anymore. Like, we are done with this. And I think that if you're running a 4.4 or something, and you're 250 pounds, I would assume at some point your knees have a conversation. They're like, yeah, we're about done with this shit, pal. This is about it for us.
Good broad jump.
Well, I'll tell you what I did on Sunday. We had look at that.
Look at that chick.
Wow. We had there was a parents versus kids soccer game, if you know that, on Sunday that I took part in.
You played in a parents versus kids soccer game?
Yep. Parents versus 9-year-old kids. And these girls could play. My daughter. It was against my daughter's team. And we were talking back and forth all week. It was a good game, but you know what? I thought I was going to puke for probably 30 hours after that game. Like, soccer is no joke. It's an absolute marathon running up and down. Like, it was crazy. We dominated. I think we won 17-2.
9-year-olds. Did you celebrate?
Oh, yeah, I did the airplane, I think, after my 7th goal.
Slide tackling kids.
7th goal. What's it with your town loving to have these kids play against grown-ass people? Like your high school, Kirk Herbstreit's playing against you as a 30-year-old whenever you're a sophomore. I didn't know that happened in places. Ohio is awesome, man. Look at it. 17-2. He said he scored 7 goals on 9-year-olds. In the rest of America, he's potentially getting like worst parent of the year for doing that. And you're like, that's what happens when he keeps scoring, you little fucking kids. Ooh! It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was freezing. It was gusting like 30-mile-an-hour wind. You know, my daughter's like, oh, after she got done, she's like, oh, I'm so cold. I was like, yeah, it's a lot colder when you lose, isn't it?
I can't wait for that moment. It's gonna be hard for me to take my kids serious, though. I'm gonna be honest. You're so bad at sports.
You got to dominate them.
Yeah, have to.
How else are they going to know?
Have to, dude. What happens the day your kids start just beating the shit out of you and everything, though? Like, your daughter's going to beat you at soccer, and this is all going to come back around on you, I think. You know what I mean?
I'll be happy. I will welcome that day that she would dominate me in soccer.
Is she better? Is she going to be a good athlete? Yeah? Do you have kids that are going to be good athletes?
Yeah, I think so. She likes soccer and basketball. My 7-year-old son, he's probably, right now, like the best athlete of all of them. He loves all sport. All kids seem to love all sports. They just want to play everything.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's 100% true. I think you got some competitive kids, which is a very difficult thing to find these days, by the way, because there's no more winning and losing. There's trying.
Everybody's different. Every kid's different, man. They all have different personalities. My 4-year-old, he's going to do something. He's going to hike the Himalayas doing yoga by himself his whole life. He is on his own planet, and we absolutely love it, and we let him thrive.
Himalayas.
He's just a unique individual. He's amazing. He's so different than the rest of them.
What's his name?
Vetter.
Yeah. Give him a guitar.
Eddie Vedder's going to be living a good life. One last phone call here before we wrap up this trade deadline Tuesday. Matt in New Kensington. What's going on? New Kens in Pittsburgh, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Oh, down in Squirrel Hill.
Canada. That's right next.
Hey, how you doing? How the boys doing?
Hey, not too shabby, Matt. What do you want to talk about, pal?
Hey, I was just seeing if you ever heard of a sport called wheelchair rugby.
I have not, but I think I just got some videos tweeted at me in the last couple of days. Is that murder ball?
I think that was me. Yeah, murder ball.
I saw the tweet, by the way. I was very intrigued by it because I was like, immediately upon seeing the headline of something called murder ball, and then the photo was 2 guys in wheelchairs, like up on one wheel, basically about to fight each other. I was like, we should broadcast one of these games, was my immediate thought, and then something moved past it. This seems like it's electric, Matt. Is it?
It is. If you like seeing guys get knocked out of their wheelchairs, I mean.
Well, I don't know if I'm. Matt, I don't know if
it's full contact sport. We're in specialized wheelchairs to protect us, and 4 people on the court on each team, and it's like football in a wheelchair.
Oh, Matt. Well, good luck in your next murder ball game, pal. I don't know how much I like to see people just fall out of their wheelchairs. I mean, I feel like that was a gotcha question there by Matt, because both answers there. Obviously, hit and misses with certain members of the crowd.
It's a lose.
Like, do I want to see somebody fall out of a wheelchair? I don't know. Are they going to get hurt? I don't want to see them get hurt. But if somebody's going to get hit so hard that they end up flying out, like, okay, if they're signing up for it, like, let's maybe watch that.
There's murder ball, baby.
There's a documentary on murder ball.
Mm-hmm. Was a trade?
Hopefully they stay safe out there. We should do one of those games. What's going on?
We do have a trade during our show.
Okay, let's go. All right.
Don't get too excited. It's from Adam Schefter. The Dolphins are trading wide receiver Isaiah Ford to the New England Patriots.
Yeah! All right. Everyone always talks about how important it is to get a good night's rest, but following that advice can be difficult. Well, that's why the folks at CBDMD created CBDPM to help you get the rest you deserve and feel your best every single morning. CBDPM blends 500 milligrams of superior CBD with sleep-promoting ingredients like melatonin, valerian root, and chamomile to create a powerful and effective sleep aid. So whether you're up late with the kids, pets, or existential dread, you can turn to CBDPM and get the rest you need to handle anything that comes your way. And to make it even easier to try CBDPM or any of CBDMD's premium CBD oil products, they're offering all listeners and watchers 25% off your next order when you use promo code McAfee at checkout when you go to cbdmd.com. Promo code McAfee, 25% off your purchase. cbdmd.com. Promo code McAfee. AJ, congrats to the New England Patriots on getting that trade done. Thank you for rocking with us on this incredible Tuesday. Hope you get to vote. Mark Schlereth, Anthony Gonzalez, everybody that listened on SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll see you, Mignon. Carolina. Chris Mad Dog Russo is next with Mad Dog Unleashed. Have the greatest Tuesday of all time. Go take a shed. Thank you. You too, pal. That was quite a dud.
Yeah,
that was a shame. What's going on down there in Miami? You guys stink, pal? You win a game for the Dolphins with 93 pass yards for your offense, and now you're getting rid of wide receivers. Are you guys mailing it in this year, Gumpy?
Must be opening it up because they're getting a big fish.
Oh, you think we need to make some moves in our room in the aquarium because we're bringing in a big fin, pal? You think maybe Julio Jones goes down to the Miami Dolphins? Is that what you said, Gumpy?
Or Will Fuller will take anybody.
Well, Will Fuller, I guess he was potentially going to be a Packer, but Gunther said, no, I don't want to get better right now. I want to get better in the future. This guy helps us now. What does that do for me, Ty?
I mean, the Packers aren't going to get anybody.
Bro, this sucked, dude. This sucked.
Isaiah Ford.
Bro, this sucked. I really thought.
So did I.
12-3. Trade deadline at 4. With what has happened with Dunlap and Ngakoue and everything that's happened weeks in advance, and with all the heat that was coming and the smoke that was coming, I was like, man, this show is going to be a great time. Not a fucking thing, AJ. Not a single thing until Isaiah Ford. Congrats, Isaiah, moving from Miami to Foxborough, from the Dolphins to the Patriots. While the Dolphins are getting good and the Patriots are potentially going the other way, that kind of sucks. You lost out there, see what they do. But it was a boring trade deadline here, 3 hours, unless everything's about to pop off right now.
I don't know. Maybe in the last hour something happens, but it seems like all the fireworks happened early. Like they got it done well before the deadline. Now coaches are just worried about game plan, and I guess it's not the coaches that are really out there shopping trades anyway. It's the front office guys.
Allegedly, the Texans are reportedly from Spotrac or Spotrac or Spotrac or. I don't know, this guy has a lot of information.
He does.
Yeah. This guy shows up in our group text all the time. This guy, at SPOTRAC, the Texans are reportedly asking for a second-round pick in return for Will Fuller, who has $5.37 million remaining on his 2020 salary, which is the final year of his rookie contract. Last October, the Patriots acquired Mohamed Sanu, 2 years, $10.2 for a second round. It did not go well. So he's up after this year, too. So it would be a short-term, literally short-term spend would be $5.37 million right now in a second-round pick.
Perfect.
That's literally what it would be. That's the short-term spend. It's not like he's going to have problems going forward, and they're latching on to like a Matt Ryan-like contract.
Right.
Very interesting that the Will Fuller deal is getting held up over semantics at the top of the food chain up there.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know why I convinced myself that they were going to do a bunch of stuff and maybe get some stuff done. They are not. We are who they thought. Fuck it. Whatever. I seriously feel like I just, got shot in the head about 45 minutes ago. I really thought they were going to do something. Did you really think,
though, it was going to happen? Like they were going to make a bunch of moves?
I think that's what he was saying. Like, I think he really, and I did too, by the way. I thought there was an actual chance that the Packers, who don't normally do anything, but by the way, normally none of these teams that are really doing anything do anything. It seemed like there was a chance this year. And maybe that's just us hyping it because we have shit to talk about, but it really felt like there was a chance.
I didn't think they were going to make a bunch of moves per se, but I thought when they saw the Saints and the Seahawks and the Bucks all make moves that clearly made their teams better, that they would do something to try to meet them there. But apparently they're okay with just getting run off the field. Yeah.
That was a heartbreaker right there.
It is. I'm just defeated. I don't know what to say.
But Ty,
I don't know
Ty,
what to say.
do you have some weird recency bias? If they were coming off a game where they just steamrolled somebody, would you not be calling for them to make all the trades?
No, because I've been saying, I said this fucking draft night. There were very clear areas that the Packers needed to improve on to make that next step, and I think win a Super Bowl, and they haven't addressed any of them. Outside of, like you mentioned yesterday, they got Kirksey, but he's been hurt. He hasn't done anything.
And they got Funches. He opted out. But the thing about it, AJ, the recency bias, the reason why you have to take that into account is because it's almost worse that game happened right now, because you just got reminded exactly why you're not going to be able to win the Super Bowl probably this year by a team that hasn't had much success this year. So it's I think the recency bias definitely plays into it, but I think it was a nice reminder to maybe the Packers, oh yeah, we still have a couple things we can do to get better here, and we're in the thick of this thing like we were last year, and maybe we didn't expect it last year with the first-year head coach, and maybe we didn't expect it this year because we wanted them to suck because we didn't want to get better or whatever, but we're in it. I don't know, just go for it. Why wouldn't you just go and try to get somebody? Because the short-term spend is not worth it. And there's no owner, by the way. There's no one owner that goes, I want to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think if they had an owner, now Ty is an owner who has said that, but if you have one ownership or one majority owner who can go in there and be like, hey, let's go fucking win this thing. I feel like this is a time where that hurts the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like that, Jerry Jones, would be good. Don't you think if he was a guy there, he would say, hey, let's do this.
We are going to sign, what's his name? Julio. We are signing him. Did you see him run? We need him on our team. We are not going to win because what? I wouldn't open a checkbook. That ain't happening, okay? My hands don't get cramped writing checks unless it's for a long time, $500 million deal that somebody pitched to me. My hands don't get. Jerry would go for it. Think about Jim Irsay. I think Jim Irsay would send a plane to Julio's house and be like, here, we'll give you this plane too. Like I think if your team is in it, I think there's a lot of owners that would be like, hey, let's go and win this thing. And at this moment, I think that is potentially a problem for Green Bay, that you don't have one family, you don't have one lady, one man to go in there and say, let's go ahead and just make this jump and go for it. Now we got our stockholders or whatever and all that. It's just a very interesting, because why wouldn't you just go? Just go. You got the guy. You got a guy that can do it. You got a team that has shown that they can do it, just a little bit of help. Why not? Is that not what we're playing for here in the NFL?
I just don't get it. And especially, I wonder if part of it is 3 weeks ago they were saying, oh, this Packers team's the best team in the NFC, when they were just blowing the doors off teams. But it just, I don't know. I don't think they can beat the fucking upper echelon teams if they don't score on every single possession and then get opportunistic turnovers, which they haven't been doing this year and they did last year.
Buccaneers are going to get a lot better with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're just talking to people that have seen old Antonio Brown work out in the last couple of weeks. I guess he looks unbelievable right now. I guess he's just been training as if it's been the season, I guess, for the last 2 years. Just like he's mid-season form all the time, I guess, right now. And if everything gets settled off the field, obviously, in the way it should, not should, by the way. Justice should be served however it goes there. But they're getting better. If the defense starts to play like they did a couple weeks ago, I mean, that team's going to be trouble. Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson's only getting better. I mean, the Saints made a play for a linebacker. I didn't know they needed that. It's tough to watch, AJ. I just became a Packers fan like this year. This is tough to watch as a fan. This is tough. It's like, yo, let's go win this fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, it is. So the Julio, what's his contract situation like that? I'm sure you're taking on a lot more.
Oh, yeah, big
$20
time.
million.
Big time.
Yeah.
I think it's like $20 million.
Big time.
Probably 2 years.
How much time does he have left?
I don't know.
Two after this one, I think.
The Will Fuller one does. It kind of makes sense. Like you're thinking, all right, a second-round pick, maybe a lot to give up when we're only getting him for it's a 10-game rental, and then I guess if we want to re-up him after this year, we can. But it doesn't really seem like you're giving up too much to add a piece like that to your offense.
Well, and if he's healthy, the question is, will Will Fuller be able to remain healthy? What is Julio Jones worth?
So Julio is getting paid $20 this year, so probably $10 million left this year, and then $23 next year, $20 the year after that, and then $20 the year after that.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be a tough sell, but it's Julio Jones, though.
Right.
You're getting Julio Jones.
And that's never going to happen. They will never do that. But they need to do something. They need to do something.
You got 55 minutes, basically, to do something.
Come on.
AJ, why don't you go vote, dude? You going to go vote?
Already happened, man. I don't have to wear my sticker like you.
Well, if you voted and you don't wear your sticker, did you?
Did you vote?
Look at this. Look at this. Jesus voted, bro. Look at this. He's got his sticker on. How come he can't have respect for Jesus? Look, Jesus voted.
Jesus Christ, AJ.
Jesus put his voice to power. And then if you look on the couch, fucking Santa Claus voted even. We got Jesus voting, Santa voting, Zito voted. I mean, maybe everybody else voted except for, look at that, Santa voted. Everybody voted except for Diggs. And you don't want to be that guy, AJ. Oh.
What happened to Diggs? What happened?
I was going to the polls this morning, and I drove by McDonald's, and my stomach was like, hey, it'd be a lot cooler if you just got a sausage, egg, and cheese instead of going to vote. So I listened to that like I always do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this gut. Maybe that was the universe telling Diggs that his voice shouldn't count this year. Yeah, maybe it was. But I'm just saying, Anthony Gonzalez told him to get off the show because he didn't vote.
Yeah. He did.
He didn't do it.
I mean, you should have just voted absentee or by mail.
You can do that?
I can't trust it. I have no idea. All right, AJ. We'll be back tomorrow. Might be a very different world tomorrow, by the way. Pretty pumped up about it.
Yeah,
here we go.
Pretty pumped up about it. Last night, my lady and I, whenever we laid down, and she's a little bit more in tune with the world than me, outside the sports world. She's like, chaos might really start like tomorrow, like real life. Like this might be the last calm night that we've had. We took a selfie, kind of laid there, and we're like, all right, we'll always remember Monday, November 2nd,
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The world's going to get better today. The American people are going to come together and say, we did it, and there's no reason to have every building in Indianapolis is boarded up currently. It's like, what the fuck? There's wars being planned for immediately after Election Day? That's not what this is all about, is it?
Not America?
No. That's not us. But it seems like it is, actually. It seems like that is us right now. And we will continue to be the clowns dancing on the stage for you to distract you from everything. My name is Pat. That was AJ. Here's all the boys. Shout out to Gonzo. Shout out to Mark Schlereth. And shout out to all of you. Have an incredible day. Enjoy this Tuesday. Remember, we don't all hate each other, no matter what happens tonight. Hope the world isn't on fire tomorrow. But if it is, we'll come in spitting that good shit.
Hell yeah.
To hopefully put it out. Yeah. See you later. Cheers. That's a show.